to the flag of the United States of America, and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
Roll call, please.
Mayor Paul.
Here.
Vice Mayor Whitman.
Here.
Councilmember Alfonso.
Present.
Councilmember Starkey.
Here.
Councilmember Lewis.
Here.
Mr. Lamach.
Here.
Mr. Lewis. Here. Mr. Holste. Here. Mr. Sherwin.
Here.
Mayor, you have a quorum.
Thank you very much. Before we go to the public comments, I'd like to have a few moments of silence. We've lost 3 Davie residents, basically pioneers. Jim Wachstatter, who was our first mounted patrol, and I remember when I first moved to Davie, he was riding that big old Appaloosa and leading a parade in Oak Hill for Christmas. He was a firefighter, he was a police officer. He did a great deal for our community, and he'll be sorely missed. The second individual is Buck Anderson. Everybody knows Buck. He's the peanut guy over on 31st Court. He always had boiled peanuts for everybody and sold all different flavors and everything. But he was a police officer in Dade County, and we had a great relationship, and we're going to miss him as well. The third person I am going to honor at the next meeting, but I just wanted to mention her, Nancy Kelly Sanguinghi. She worked at NSU for 40 years, and she will be sorely missed. But I'll be having another little something for her with her family at the next meeting. So if you'll join me in a moment of silence for these 3 individuals, I would appreciate it. Thank you very much. We're going to go into the public comments. I know there are a number of people here for Cameron Cove, and I just want you to know that I intend to pull that, so you will have an opportunity to speak when that comes up on the agenda. In the meantime, the first part of the first meeting of the month is reserved for public comments. Again, you won't be limited on the number of topics you can speak about, but again, saving your comments to the items come up on the agenda in the public hearing would be appreciated. Speakers will be limited to 3 minutes, and we'll start with who would like to come forward and speak first.
Good evening, Mayor, council members, town manager, town attorney, and staff. Good evening again, and namaste. My name is Raj Verma, and with me are some of my friends, Ravi Santwani, Dilip Narsian, Ram Tiwari, Darshana Gajmukhi, and Denise Babalal.
Namaste.
On behalf of thousands of, this pertains to item number 25, Mayor Proclamation. I'm not too sure if I should wait until then, or is it okay for me to speak?
Well, I'm going to have you up again to accept the proclamation, so it's up to you.
Okay. If I may just, I do not know what.
You can wait.
Okay.
Okay.
All right, thank you.
Thank you.
Thank you. Thank you. On behalf of thousands of people of Indian descent in Broward County and several hundred in Davie, please accept our heartiest thank you for the proclamation tonight, celebrating August 15th as India's 80th Independence Day. It shows the Council's recognition of Indian diaspora that calls Davie its home. And Mayor, under your leadership, the Council has etched an indelible mark, not only in the minds of people from India, but also people of all faiths who believe in non-violence by erecting the Gandhi statue at the Falcon Leopard. India is world's largest democracy whose value system is rooted in its ancient Hindu civilization. With the population 4 times that of the United States, is squeezed into 1/3 of its area, with all faiths practicing their beliefs side by side, is nothing but an amazement. It's a very turbulent and chaotic democracy with cyclical ups and downs, but nonetheless a democracy in its own way. On a slightly different but somewhat related note, Council's leadership, including the managers, deserves the big credit for transforming the town's image from what it was over 2 decades ago. From our vantage point, Council's congeniality and recognition of people from all walks of life, like ours, is the testimony of being a responsible and respectful government. Thank you again, Mayor and Council members, and see you again after November the 3rd.
Thank you.
Hi, I'm Cheryl Zagacki. I live in the Davie Oaks neighborhood, former resident of Marlon Lewis. Hey, Marlon. Okay, perhaps my questions might be more directed toward the police and the attorneys. Is there a difference between a sidewalk and a paved path?
Yes.
Okay. Okay, e-bikes all over the place. Out west, it's the wild, wild west. What exactly is an e-bike? Is an e-bike any bike with pedals and a motor?
This gets a little more complicated. If you want to present your comments, and then we'll have someone on staff go into it with you.
That'll be fine. Our area is being overrun by e-bikes.
Yes,
and I
we
just
know,
want to know
yeah.
where they're supposed to be. I know where I'm supposed to be. I just don't really know where they're supposed to be. They're in the oncoming lanes of traffic, they're
Yeah,
on the
we have
sidewalk, they're on
put
the
out
paved
some
path.
direction, we'll give you direction.
Okay, so who would I talk to afterwards?
Speak to the chief.
Fabulous,
police chief.
thank you. And we have one other question. Since we live on Southwest 14th Place, which is 1 block south of Western High School.
So my question is.
The voice of the hurricane.
Yes, thank you. But the voice of the Hurricanes can't get out of his neighborhood to go to work at 7 o'clock in the morning or 3 o'clock or 4 o'clock in the afternoon. The Davie Police, led by Sergeant Castaneda, have been wonderful for us to a certain extent, but they can't do much. And what I'm talking about is when Western High School, which starts on Monday, our neighborhood becomes a cut-through for the parents. They park in our neighborhood, they drop their kids off, they park in our neighborhood when school is out, and they wait for their kids to come through the cut-through. So they're trying to avoid the drop-off line, but as they come through our neighborhood, they speed through our neighborhood, they park in our grass, their kids walk all over the place, and it's a real menace. And by the way, they're not very nice about it. We have a beautiful 2-block neighborhood where you lived, and starting on Monday, it's going to be chaos. People are going to come from other places in Davie because they don't want to wait in the drop-off line at Western High School, and they're going to turn our neighborhood into, chaos. And I think it's very unfair, and it's not, it affects our living conditions. And I know the police are going to try to do what they can, but unless someone's speeding through there, which they do, they can't write them a ticket, and it really doesn't matter because they just continue on with their dropping their kids off and picking them up. So is there anything that can be done?
Okay, we've worked with another community on some of the same issues in the area, and if you exchange information with Mr. Lamack, I'm sure he'd be happy to meet with you.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Okay.
Hi, everyone. Jeanette Smith. I apologize for not giving my address. I'm former law enforcement, so it's exempt. I'm here to say thank you to all of you for recognizing Nancy Sanguini. I know you're here to do the business of the town, but I think it's also important to recognize our community and our neighbors. As you said earlier, Nancy has been a member of Davie for 40 years, or almost 40 years. and part of NSU for 40 years. She was a neighbor, a friend, a mentor. She loved the Orange Blossom Parade. Every St. Patty's Day, she would come out and celebrate. So I just want to thank you for doing something. Her family will be here at the next meeting. And if we could do a proclamation, if you could do a proclamation, I think it just shows the respect for someone who's given back to this community so much. Marlon, she lived in your area, in your neighborhood in Shenandoah, and the problems in Shenandoah seem to be still happening since I was in high school. So thank you so much for what you do, and I think remembering the people in our community is definitely first and foremost of all of the business of the town. Thank you.
Thank you.
Hello, Council. Just real quick, I presented a plan to eliminate the problem that prior speaker was speaking about. Hopefully you guys still have the plan that I presented, but if you don't, please contact me. I still have the plan. You can review it with me and it'll eliminate that problem. I want to start out tonight with an apology for painting the entire council with the same brush at the last meeting. We have two newish members to me, that I have not yet had an opportunity to meet. And that would be Councilperson Whitman and Councilperson Alfonso. So I want to just kind of give you guys my apology for painting the entire council with the same brush without giving you two the opportunity to show me that you've earned my support. And I'll be meeting with each of them, I believe, within the next week, hopefully, and I'll form my opinion based on that and report back. What I'm here to speak to you about tonight, and I hope that the council has been informed about all of this by our town attorney. It's the speed camera issue and the fact that this was ruled unconstitutional by the Broward County District Judge Stephen P. DeLuca on March 3rd with a 21-page dismissal order. A brief synopsis of why this was ruled unconstitutional, and it's ruled unconstitutional for many, many reasons. One, it shifts the burden. The burden is always on the accuser to prove the accused is guilty. It's never on the accusee to prove that they are innocent. So it was based on that shift of burden that the Judge DeLuca found this unconstitutional, among many other reasons. Another reason is when you receive this notification of infraction, which is not a uniform traffic ticket citation, this seems to me, and I'm appealing to the council up here, this seems to me like more like a money grab scam, because you guys don't have the authority to impose points on anybody's record. You're asking these people, here's this notification of citation, this notification of infraction, and if you don't pay it within X amount of time, we're going to turn it into a uniform traffic citation, which I know you guys don't want to do because the Broward County court system has already said that they are going to hold all of those dockets indefinitely, probably for about the next 3 years as this works its way through the Supreme Court of Florida. And based on all of the facts of the matter, this thing is going to get ruled unconstitutional. Just so you know, the speed equipment inside of these cameras does not even meet Florida State. Can I have some more time?
3 minutes.
All right, I'll make a video on News Now Davie on my YouTube channel. You guys, for the residents, you can all go on News Now Davie YouTube channel. I'll do a video explaining these 6 unconstitutional issues about this. Thank you.
Thank you.
Thank you for giving me that extra few minutes.
Okay. Good evening.
Good evening, Mayor, Vice Mayor, council members. My name is Julie Patterson. I live at 8013 Southwest 29th Street, Davie. I live on the 14th hole of the Davie Golf Course, and I'm calling today about the trees.
The trees.
The trees on the golf course. You can see I live on the canal, and you can see the canal is, the trees are breaching the edge of the whatever you call that thing.
The
Anyway,
water.
Yes. And I called and spoke to Chris Sposerati at the golf course. He's the general manager on May 12th. I called the town and asked them to have someone look at this on June 2nd. This is now August 5th. And the trees are still dangling over the houses. The trees last year fell on my neighbor's house. It caused significant damage to the roof. And when we contacted the town, we were told it was an act of God. These trees, as you know, Australian pines are very susceptible to falling. We didn't even have a hurricane last year. It was a very bad storm. And it was about 2 days after the storm was over that the trees came crashing down. I work from home, and I heard a large boom. I thought there was an explosion. I'm asking today if someone can please get an arborist to come and cut these trees. You'll see there's a dead tree that was struck by lightning a long time ago. It's probably 40 feet high. It's going to fall. And it's going to fall on either me or my house or my neighbor's house. And when it does, I don't want to come here and see there's no liability on the town because these trees need to be maintained. And nobody comes back there and maintains these trees. So I'm asking if you can please get that
You
looked
say
at.
these trees are on the golf course?
Yes.
And that is privately owned, you know. It's NSU owns that golf course. So if you would speak to Mr. Lemack, we'll try to,
Okay, I appreciate that, but just also so you know, when I called the town, they didn't tell me this, that the NSU owns the golf. This isn't, this is Arrowhead.
Arrowhead, not Grand Oaks.
This isn't Grand Oaks.
oh, this is at Arrowhead. I'm sorry.
Yes.
I thought you were talking about
I know
Grand
Grand
Oaks.
Oaks very well.
Oh, okay,
My
I'm sorry.
son-in-law worked at Grand Oaks.
Okay.
Caddyshack was filmed there. This is not Grand
Yes, I'm
Oaks.
sorry.
They take care of their trees at Grand Oaks.
Okay,
They
I'm
have
sorry.
oaks. They don't have Australian pines. So I would appreciate it if you could
Okay.
get someone to look at these for me.
All right. Mr. Lemack will take care of it. Is there anyone else who would like to speak? Seeing none, I will close the public comments and go on to presentations. We have with us today the Superintendent of Schools, Broward Public Schools, Dr. Howard Hepburn, and the superintendent will provide an informational presentation regarding the next generation referendum, which will appear on the November 3rd ballot. Hello.
Hello and good evening.
It's nice to see you.
Yes, absolutely. Thanks for having us. Mayor, Vice Mayor, council members, glad to be here. First of all, I want to thank you for your continued partnership and supporting our schools, supporting our students. As I tell my team all the time, we can't work in isolation. Partnerships really matter, and they help to support the great work that's happening in our schools. So I know we get to empty out most of the streets. If kids are riding around all summer and having fun, they'll be in our classrooms starting on Monday. And so just want to advise the public as well, take some time starting on Monday. I know traffic's been light. We're going to have a lot of school buses and a lot of parents driving kids to and from school as well. So I want to take an opportunity to talk about our next generation referendum. Caveat there, I can educate and inform, but not advocate. So I'm not telling folks how to vote, but I definitely want to provide some information of how our current referendum is being used and how it's going to be used in the future if it's so passed by the voters. So thanks for giving us the opportunity to educate the public. So I always like to talk about the accolades. Broward County Public Schools, when I actually started about 3 years ago now as deputy superintendent and appointed as superintendent in 2024. When I came, we had D&F schools, lots of C schools, a few A's and a few B's. I can tell you that has tremendously changed over the past 3 years. And we were a B school district for probably over a decade at that time as well. We're now an A rated school district for the third time in a row. We have no D&F schools for the third time in a row since 1999. First time was school year 23-24, and the district hasn't experienced no D&F schools since actually the start of the accountability system in the state of Florida. We've experienced the highest graduation rate of 97.5% for the schools that we operate in 25 years. And also #1 funding in the state of Florida for AP, ACE, dual enrollment, IB courses and industry certification courses. What does that mean for the public? That means a majority of our high school students are taking college level coursework where they're earning college credit while in high school. And we're #1 for that right here at Broward County Public Schools. And also we got recognized as a Cambridge Large District of the Year. And there's tons of school districts across the country. And because of our work in offering college level coursework specific to Cambridge, we're recognized just this past school year as a Cambridge District of the Year, which is a testament to the great work our teachers, our school leaders are doing in our buildings. Also, I always want to remind people the scale of Broward County Public Schools, because we're going to talk about money as well. So the scale reflects the amount of revenue, the amount of money that we actually spend. We have 236,000 students that we serve, and that also includes charter schools as well. Have about 325 schools. 86 of those schools are charter schools. Have 27,000 employees, and just this past year, I talked about all the college level coursework that our students take in high school. The class of 2026 actually earned $617 million in scholarships for that graduating class. That's actually $260 million more than the previous graduating class, because we challenge, we offer the opportunities, we make sure they take those college credit bearing courses, and it equates to wonderful opportunities for kids to go off and live their post-secondary dreams. Also, I talked about this, so about 3 years ago when I came, B school district for over a decade. And you can see the data here. When you start at the bottom and you look at 2023, and you look at the amount of A's, you look at the amount of B's, you look at the amount of C's and D's and F's. And if you move up, moving up over the past 3 years, and you look at the most recent year, which was last year, lots of A's, 129 A's, and 0 D's and F's, and we've reduced the number of C schools across the district as well. We're on a mission to eliminate all of our C schools and make sure all of our schools are A and B schools. Our teachers and administrators are doing wonderful work. Our volunteers, the hundreds of thousands of volunteers that support our schools, our bus drivers, our custodians, the folks in our cubicles doing the work that nobody really sees. It takes a team to make this happen for these levels of accomplishments and to be able to repeat it year after year. Also, speak about Davie schools. There's only 2 B schools in the town of Davie. The majority of them are all A's. So let me, okay, how do I go back? Okay, I see the back arrow. I want to make sure that you and the public see the amazing work that's going on in your schools. So we're trying, for the town of Davie, we're actually trying to eliminate the B schools and turn those into A's to make sure you guys have all A schools. We have the teachers, the school administrators, the volunteers, and the support of the town of Davie to make sure this happens during this school year. So quickly at a glance, most people are used to the referendum 2018 and also 2022 being on the ballot during the primary, August primary. Due to change in legislation, is actually going to be on the general election ballot. It's not a new tax, it's actually a renewal of an existing 1 mil property tax. For 4 school years, it's actually going to start school year 2027-28. So not this upcoming school year, but the following, if the voters so choose to vote for this. It'll garner about approximately $358 million across Broward County Public Schools, and that also includes the charter schools as well. And I just want to remind you about the scale, the amount of schools that we have, the amount of students that we serve. And mainly it's used for teacher compensation. As we know, we don't get a lot of funding to actually support our teachers, and there's always affordability issues here in South Florida, especially in the Tri-County area. And it's a competitive market for high-quality teachers. Our neighbors to the north and to the south, as far as counties, also have a referendum where they provide supplements for teachers. So we want to make sure we stay competitive to be able to recruit the best. And it also supports our school safety personnel, SROs, safety security specialists around our schools, just to make sure our schools are safe and secure at all times. And also supporting mental health professionals. I don't think the public is aware about this little thing in my jacket pocket where kids are exercising their thumbs all day actually equates to a large amount of mental health issues. And so we're working with parents and students 24/7 and providing support and services just to make sure we address those needs. Again, not a new tax, a renewal of a $1 mil property tax for voters that were approved in 2022. Mainly, like I said, most of these funds will be used for recruiting and retaining high-quality teachers. We provide them additional supplemental compensation with the referendum, supporting our school resource officer program. I know we contract with many of the cities for SROs. And so this helps to enhance our contribution, especially in the near future if this is passed by the voters, to actually close the gaps for the cities as well, because I know we reimburse about $120,000. I think the cost is roughly $180,000 to $200,000, depending on the city, and we want to make sure we continue to close that gap so we pay more than our fair share. Again, mental health services for students and families, and so it supports a lot of mental health service staff. We have over 200 mental health service staff that actually support our students and our families 24 hours a day. Many of these things don't manifest in school, they actually manifest outside of school, and we actually react in real time when we get a phone call and get a concern from our families. And the 393 school safety personnel that we support in our schools as well. This is actually the ballot language that will be on the ballot. And speaks to school safety, mental health services, recruiting and retaining high-quality educators in our systems, and not a problem. And also ensuring that people understand that it's a $1 mil levy that starts on January 1st, 2027 and up to December 31st, 2030. And want to stress that importance about the safety personnel in our schools and also the mental health services. And again, this supports Broward County Public Schools, our district operated schools, and also the charter schools in the county. So speaking of compensation, this is how the money is going to be allocated if it was to pass. Again, the board has prioritized ensuring that our teachers and instructional staff and support staff, our frontline workers, our bus drivers, our custodians, our food and nutrition service people, our teachers and other instructional support staff in our schools are compensated. So 90% of those funds will go to additional compensation to supplement their salaries to make sure we can recruit and retain, which is important to diminish our turnover. As a result of the current referendum, our vacancy rate usually hovers around 2% or less. For a large school district like us, that is phenomenal. Usually other large school districts across the country are floating around 10 to 15% vacancy rate, which is huge. All right, so that equates to probably a vacancy of one teacher in about half of our schools. Right, and so our HR team works during the summer all day 24/7 to process, recruit, and go out and find individuals to make sure on day one all of our classrooms are fully staffed. 10% of the referendum will actually go to supporting school resource officers and other school safety personnel, and also mental health service personnel. And this is how it breaks down for homeowners. If you are a single-family homeowner, the cost is about $418 per year, roughly about $35 per month. If you're a condominium owner, it equates to about $230 per year, and about $19 per month, and again, generating about $358 million per year. And if it's not renewed, we won't have those funds to do all the wonderful things that are talked about. And I can tell you the investment has definitely paid off to ensure we're changing the dynamics of academics, which enhances economic opportunities for our students as they're taking advantage of great post-secondary opportunities, diving into industry certification courses, and being able to go out and get high-paying careers right out of high school or going off to college and universities. And if you need any more information, this is for the public, anybody that's listening, you can go to browardschools.com/referendum 2026. If you're handy with your cell phone, you can actually scan that QR code and it'll take you to a web page to provide any additional information. And that's it for me, Mayor, and I'll pause if there's any questions.
Thank you very much. Are there any questions? It was very comprehensive. We appreciate that. Thank you.
Thank you. I appreciate the time.
Yeah. Our second presentation is from the South Florida Water Management District. Hurricane preparedness. Mr. Julio Tejeda.
Thank you, Town Council members, Mayor, Vice Mayor, and town staff. So once again, my name is Julio Tejeda. I'm with South Florida Water Management District. I'm going to give you a little bit of an overview of what we do at the district and sort of our hurricane operations. So let's start off with a little bit of history. So we had the Great Miami Hurricane and the Lake Okeechobee Hurricane. Those two were very devastating, caused flooding throughout the eastern and central of Florida, with over 2,000 lives lost during that time and those events. So this caused basically a big conundrum. So the Army Corps of Engineers decided to start the largest public works project at its time, which was part of the Hoover Dike, along with the flood control infrastructure that we manage today. Upon completing that first component of the dike, they did realize that this was a large flood control infrastructure that somebody needed to manage. So with a little bit of help, basically the legislature created the Central and Southern Flood Control District that was in charge of this basically new flood infrastructure, managing it alongside the Army Corps. So later on, the Water Resources Act changed slightly what we did and how we manage that, along with creating the 5 water management districts that exist today. Later on in 1977, we officially became South Florida Water Management District, getting that change from the Central and Southern Flood Control District over to South Florida Water Management District. So just so you know exactly how large we are in the overall area, so that's 18,000 square miles of Florida. That's 31% of the state's total land area that we cover overall. So this would be our governing board members. They're appointed by the governor and confirmed by the legislature. Here you see, basically they come from all walks of life, all types of backgrounds. So let's start off with a little bit of what that infrastructure looks like. So that's 2,000 plus miles of levees, berms, and canals, along with over 900 water control structures. 89 of those are pump stations. So just to give you a little bit of background of what's the difference between, a pump station and a regular flood control structure. So you have a gated structure, which can only release water during low tides. As we're seeing less and less low tide, and we're losing that capacity due to some sea level and some rising tide in some different areas, we're starting to move a little bit more into the pump stations. Pump stations have a gated structure component to them while simultaneously being able to pump water. So once we have a high tide or an elevated tide situation where water can no longer move through gravity, we can start pumping it at the same volume that we would be able to as the original build of the structure. So we like to consider flood control as an overall partnership. The reason we call it a partnership is because all the systems need to work together. Us at South Florida Water Management District manage the primary canal, creating that volume so that the water from your secondary discharge, like your drainage districts, your municipal, your HOA lakes, can move out and keep those homes safe that are in those areas. So here I'd like to illustrate a little bit about all of the municipalities that we have here in Broward County, along with your drainage districts. The largest, drainage district that's going to cover you guys is going to be the Central Broward Drainage District. They're the ones that are going to have all those smaller canals feeding into our larger canal, which is going to be your C11 that you see running east to west. Highlighted here, I do have the structures. You can sort of see their locations are a little bit small, but in green, you see where our actual eastern structure are. So those are the ones that let water out into the actual waterways out east. So let's talk a little bit more about the flood construction component overall. So most drainage systems or catch basins that you see around the city are only able to handle about 5 inches of water within a 24-hour period. As soon as that water level is exceeded, you get more than that amount of rain, you start to see ponding, water sitting on the road. The road is supposed to be part of also that infrastructure, moving the water out to another nearby catch basin or a canal, drainage ditch, swale, things like that. Now, what do we do at the district? So before a storm happens, 72 to 48 hours ahead of time, we have meteorologists monitoring all the time. We start lowering those water levels so that we can accept the water from all the different drainage districts, municipal levels. We have the pump stations manned 24 hours ahead of schedule. We also do full inspections on the network to make sure that there's no blockages, nothing that's gonna back up the water, and that everything's operational as needed. So here's some of the challenges in that water management system. We have canal blockages and we have maintenance challenges. So let me give you a little bit of background. So vegetations, we all love trees, we all love, how luscious they are, but anything that is not stable near a canal will fall in during a major storm or a big windstorm. Once it falls in, the removal costs can triple, basically. So what normally could have been removed, an unstable tree, something that can cause an issue, once it's in the water, it triples. It can back up into underneath a bridge where we're not able to get out to it, and then realistically, all the water is gonna start backing up right behind that, and there's no real water flow, no movement that we can create at that moment. So apart from vegetation, and we do year-round vegetation, basically cleanups, we just performed one over on the C11. We did some trimming of those trees that were a little bit overhanging. So apart from that, we do have what are called the man-made debris. So we end up plastic bottles, styrofoam cups, any large debris. As you can see there, we have some sort of a big tarp that ended up inside the canal system. So all of this will ultimately end up in the structures. It will cause some level of blockages. Sometimes this causes weeds to back up, different things to back up. You'll see basically birds just walking across the canal system itself. So that is one of the big things. We do have this general maintenance that we do where we scoop it all up, put it on the side of the canal. It is a little bit unsightly. We do like to remove this as fast as possible, but normally we leave all this waste on the side of the canal to dry out for at least a day to be able to make sure that we're disposing of the trash and not just disposing of water weight with the trash as well. So that's basically an overall on that side of the house. We at South Florida Water Management District did create a flood observation survey. This is very brand new. We have had some reach out to some of the cities, some of the municipal levels on this. This is also open to the residents. So at sfwmd.gov/flooding app, residents can basically report any flooding that they're seeing or any flooding concerns. This will basically pinpoint it on a map, let us know what is going on, how it's happening. Along with us being notified that this was registered, you will get a local basically notification to your administration that will let them know, hey, this is what is going on. This is just information on our end. So that way we can see the difference between sunny day rainstorms and storm rainstorms so that we can notice exactly where systems are failing, where there might be issues to improve, and different things like that. Like I said, this is completely open, and your staff is able to see the back end of this app, to see past reports that have gone on, and everything that goes along with this app as well. So that is everything from my end. Thanks again for having me out, and I'd be happy to entertain any questions.
Mayor.
Thank you.
We appreciate your being here, and hopefully Mother Nature will be kind to us this year.
Well, thank you.
Question?
Yeah, thank you, Julio. I appreciate it. I've been on the Water Advisory Board for the past 20-plus years and appreciate a lot of the water and partnerships we've had with trying to make sure we're prepared. We've had issues in the past, and we've worked well together with you and the town, so appreciate it all. One of the recent projects you just did was the C11 Canal cleanup, where you're actually taking a lot of the debris out and putting it on the side of the road, or in the swale there off of Orange Drive. We've had several complaints by the residents, and it wasn't just maybe a couple of days. We understand it has to dry out, but that wasn't picked up for like a week or two or almost 3 now. So the residents were concerned with that, so maybe more go back to trying to make sure that they get picked up a lot quicker. They were calling my phone, they were calling the town's phone, and I'm sure everybody else's phone. So that was just one thing I'd like to bring to your attention. So since you've brought it up, maybe you could go back and report back that, hey, they're complaining a little.
Thank you.
No, yeah, definitely we encourage, if you guys are getting any of those calls or anything like that, feel free to reach out to me. Normally, like I said, our operations team tends to be pretty quick about it, but, you know, something can get missed, something can get misplaced. It always happens.
Absolutely. So just be aware of that and like check out Orange Drive, especially, well, it was all over actually. So I'm going to leave it there.
No worries.
Thank you.
Thank you. Anybody else? Marlon? You have your mic on?
Thought I had it. There we go. When we have those unforeseen storms that come in and we get over the 5 inches real quick there at night, where I live, most everything runs there to the C11 canal. Approximately how long does that take before that goes down enough to where the water in our area goes down?
So specifically, I would have to look at the area, but as I said, the central Broward Control District, they're the ones that handle those smaller canals that you
Right.
see throughout the neighborhoods. So they're the ones that they may have a blockage in their system where the water's not getting out to us, or there might be something else going on with their system. Normally, our system tends to keep at a really low rate. Whenever there's a storm coming, we lower it ahead of time, like I mentioned, and then that way it can gravity flow down. But again, there might be a blockage, there might be some other issue that's going on. But again, always feel free to report it, always feel free to reach out, and we'll take a look at it.
I appreciate it. Thank
Yeah.
you, sir.
Yeah, I might add that when we had that huge storm where everything got flooded, and it was like for quite a while, South Florida Water Management District did install those automatic readers, and it measures the depth in the C11 canal now, so that real time through their computers they can see. So if they're getting excessive backflow into the secondary canal system, then they can automatically start those pumping a lot more vigorously. And I followed that quite a bit in the data. So that's the improvement that they made since that one big storm that we've had. So that was a benefit again. So thank you for that.
Correct.
That's helpful.
Yep. Just so you guys know, as mentioned, since you did mention it here, on our website, you'll be able to see that real-time monitoring, and that shows you the full system. So you'll see out west by Everglades Holiday Park, and you can see how that canal moves all the way out east. So. Okay.
Thank you very much. We
Thank you.
appreciate your time. And now, our dear friend, our property appraiser, Marty Kerr, and his
Thank you.
lovely counsel, as I see you brought with you.
I did. I always bring, Mila is the greatest legal counsel ever. I'll come up with the worst idea, and she'll talk me out of it and still make me think it's a good idea. But it's great to see you, Madam Mayor, and to the town council. Thank you all so much for the fantastic work that you do. As you know, no matter where I live, even though I'm currently a resident of Plantation, Davie is always my home. And I just very much appreciate how hard that you work and this council works for the people of Broward County and at the town of Davie. And so I want to thank you so much for that. And also thank you, Madam Mayor, for inviting me today to speak on this exceptionally important issue. What I was hoping to talk about today, before I talk about what's on the ballot in November, I was just hoping to quickly go through with you all the values, where they are in the town of Davie, to kind of give a little bit of perspective where things are. And so as you discuss your budgets and you determine what tax rate you're actually going to set on the values, you can have all the information possible. And so with that said, Madam Mayor, there's a few interesting things I wanted to bring up. As you know, the town of Davie is a pretty big town. It's a cool town, it's an awesome town, and there's a lot going on. And a few numbers I think are just kind of interesting. If you took all the commercial and residential property in the town of Davie and you sold it on the open market, in 2025 you would have got right about $25.8 billion. That's a pretty big number. But once again, that's increased because people are paying a lot of money for properties in the town of Davie, and there's a lot of very cool new construction going on the tax roll with regard to smart growth. This year there's been about a 3.9% increase, so if you sold all the commercial and residential property, you would get right about $26.8 billion, so a little bit more than $1 billion in extra value has been added to the tax roll when it comes to what the market value is. Now, the taxable value, of course, is the value that is the most important value that you need, that you're going to set your millage rate on to determine the amount of money that you need to provide great services to the people of the town of Davie. And in 2025, the taxable value was right about $15,963 million. Fast forward 1 year, there's been a 6.51% increase in your taxable value to right about $17.003 billion. And what I think is pretty great that I saw, the millage rate that you all submitted to our office today actually showed that you all are considering adopting the rollback rate, which I just want to tell you as a former resident of Davie, as you know, my dad and my sister live here, and just by talking to the folks here, I think it was an exceptionally fiscally responsible thing to do for the residents at this time. So I want to thank you all for that. And so the rollback rate this year is right about 5.3392. So what that means is because you have new construction, you've added right about $162 million of new construction, you would still get about $5,551,000 more this year than last year. But the really great thing about going to the rollback rate is you basically helped ensure that your, I believe, 20,000 homesteaded property owners are going to see, if at most, a nominal increase in their property taxes when it comes to their ad valorem taxes. And so I just want to thank you once again. I think going to the rollback rate was really fantastic, and I actually hope that other cities follow your lead and do that for the residents as well. There are, of course, 20,886 homesteaded properties here in the town of Davie. You have 1,011 seniors who receive a low-income senior exemption, so they save money in their taxes. You also have 151 long-term seniors that have been here for 25 years or more that actually pay no property taxes in the town of Davie. You have 1,573 folks who are widowed and widowers who receive a property tax exemption. And one thing that I think is just pretty awesome, you actually have 266 American hero veterans that are fully exempt from property taxes. They've given so much, of course, to our country. They don't have to pay their taxes here, but they've made the town of Davie home, and I think that is a really wonderful thing. A couple other very interesting bits of information for the public. The average sale price of a single-family home in the town of Davie right now is $1,131,000. That's a pretty significant number. But what's very interesting is the taxable value is only about $347,000. That's because people come to the town of Davie, they love it so much they don't leave. And so because they're here for a long time, they get the benefit of the Save Our Homes assessment cap. And that's why even though properties can be selling for $1 million, people are only paying taxes on about $300,000. That's a pretty incredible thing. With that said, Madam Mayor, the last thing I wanted to just quickly bring up before I talk about what's on the November ballot is just for the residents. This month, every single resident that lives in the town of Davie that owns property is going to get a very important document from me in the mail. It's the Truth and Millage Notice. It's not a tax bill. It's basically a document so people can make sure they don't overly pay in their property taxes. And it's going to show a lot of very important things. It'll show the value of property for tax purposes. It'll show all the tax-saving exemptions they're currently getting. It'll show the dates and times that the town of Davie, the county commission, the school board, and all other taxing authorities are going to be discussing their tax rates. And it'll show the proposed amount of property taxes they're going to be asked to pay this year. And I always tell everyone, when you get that document, really take a look at it. If you have any concern about the value of your property or you're not getting every exemption that can save you money, give me a call by September 18th. And also, please, really go through it. See when the town of Davie and the county commission and the school board are going to be discussing their budgets and their tax rates, because I know you all would love to have everybody come and to let you know whether or not they agree or they don't agree, so you can take as much information from them as possible so you can make the best vote possible as well. With that said, Madam Mayor, I'm actually ready now to kind of talk about what you all asked me to come speak about today. Oh, cool. And actually, it's basically what's on the November ballot. I really appreciate y'all having me, and something that I think is exceptionally important is basically just providing information to the public, because at the end of the day, the vote that people are going to make in November, it's a very important and very consequential vote. If the Constitution is amended, it can truly change things and the way that property taxes not only are levied, but also collected. And so I think by providing people all the information possible, both to the savings to the property owner and also the fiscal impact of local government, can really give people the opportunity to make the best vote possible. And so before we talk about what's on my sheets, let me just talk for the residents how we got here. You know, about more than a year ago, somebody from North Florida was very mad about their property taxes. And they tweeted, "Property taxes are horrific, we got to get rid of them." And it just so happened that Governor DeSantis saw that tweet, and he retweeted it. And when the governor retweets something that's an important issue, it brings a big conversation to that important issue. And so the first thing that occurred was the Florida Policy Institute, which is a nonprofit, nonpartisan think tank in Tallahassee, did a study. And they said, okay, if we get rid of all property taxes, that's commercial taxes, residential taxes, tangible personal property taxes, everything, what does that mean for the people of Florida? Well, they said it means that about $55 to $60 billion of revenue that local governments collect wouldn't be collected anymore. And that's revenue, of course, that funds all the things that we know locally: police, fire, roads, bridges, schools, all parks, libraries, all the things that we know and love locally in our communities. And they said, okay, well, if you get rid of that money, you still need that money because you have to have all these different things. How do we replace it? And they said, well, to replace that money, you have to increase the sales tax to likely 12 or 13% in many areas of Florida, or probably 13 to 15% in South Florida. We have a much higher cost of living. And so then what they decided to do was poll the people of Florida that are likely to vote in the November 2026 election. They did that, of course, because in order to amend the Constitution to do away with property taxes, the people would have to vote by more than 60% of the people voting. If they do, then it amends the Constitution, and that's the new law. And so they basically said, in the poll, they basically said, would you support doing away with all property taxes and increasing the sales tax to the amount that I just mentioned? And overwhelmingly, the people of Florida said it was a bad idea. About 70% of the people said no. All political parties said no. All areas of the state said no. And so when that happened, the conversation changed a little bit from eliminating all property taxes to focusing on homesteaded property taxes only. And so from June 1st to June 3rd, the Florida legislature, as you know, met in a special session where they adopted a proposed resolution that's going to be on the ballot in November for the people of Florida that are going to vote either for or against. And let me tell you a little about what that amendment does, and then I'll show you how it impacts the people of Broward County and also our local taxing authorities. So for the residents, here's what the amendment does. Well, first thing, here's what it doesn't do. It doesn't apply to schools, and that's very, very important because it basically increases the homestead exemption, but it doesn't impact schools. So no matter what, you're always going to have to pay property taxes to schools. The second thing it says, in order to qualify, you have to be a resident of Florida by January 1st, 2027. If you're not, you have to wait 5 years before you can get the benefit of the new exemption. And so here's basically what it does. If you live in Broward County, or if you live in the town of Davie, or the state of Florida, and you're a resident as of January 1st, 2027, and you own a property, your homestead exemption will be increased that day from $50,000 to $150,000. So it's an increase in the homestead exemption. It then says in 2028 that $150,000 exemption, it gets increased to $250,000. And then, I'll jump into that. And then it says after that, basically, and this is where it gets very broad, it's not very specific, but after the $250,000 exemption, it basically says the legislature is supposed to make some type of schedule that ultimately, potentially, maybe eliminates all homestead property taxes except for the school portion of the tax bill. It would basically be up to the legislature how and if or when they want to do that. And that's pretty much the exemption. And so what I did was I looked at it and I said, okay, if this was in effect for the 2025 tax year, and I used that tax year because that was the last tax year we had every single taxing authority's millage rates, we knew all the values, all the budgets were set. And so I said, okay, if it was applied for the 2025 tax year, what impact would it have? And so here's what we found. So as you can see, the first thing that would happen on January 1st, 2027, if you qualify, you'll get a $150,000 homestead exemption that will be applied to all taxing authorities but the school portion of the tax bill. In Broward County, there are 424,899 homesteaded properties in Broward County. If this was in effect, the average savings for a property owner would be right about $1,104. That's because not everybody has $150,000 of value that they pay taxes on. However, if you do pay taxes on $150,000 of value, you would save right about $1,325. Now, the County Commission levied in 2025 $1.804 billion in property taxes. If this was in effect, they would have levied right about $1.6 billion, so about $195 million less than what they levied. It would have been about a 10.8% decrease. Now, when it comes to the town of Davie, I also ran the numbers for Davie as well. And Davie, as you'll notice in each of these slides, is fiscally impacted a little bit greater than the county as a whole, and that's because the town of Davie, of course, has a whole lot of homesteaded residential properties. The town of Davie has 20,970 homesteaded properties. If this was in effect, the average savings for a property owner in Davie would be right about $1,171. If they had the full $150,000 of value that they currently pay taxes on, they would receive about $1,331 of a reduction in their taxes. Now, the town of Davie, which is definitely a big town, it levied about $93.2 million in property taxes. If this was in effect, it would have levied about $82.4 million. So that first year, it would have levied about $10.7 million less than what it levied, about 11.6% decrease. Now, the next page I just wanted to quickly bring up, and I kind of do this for each of the slides, it just kind of shows the two cities that are always in contrast to each other. And it's very important because the way this works, it really impacts the homestead exemption. So cities and communities with more homesteaded properties are impacted more than cities that have fewer homesteaded properties and more commercial properties that really drive the tax base. And so the two cities here that are impacted differently are Pembroke Park and Tamarack. Now, Pembroke Park is in every single one. That's a city with very few homesteaded properties. It's basically a mobile home community that has a lot of commercial. And as you can see, if there was a $150,000 homestead exemption in effect, they would have lost right about less than 1% of what they collected in property taxes. Tamarack, however, is a community with a lot of homesteaded properties. And so Tamarack, as you can see, would have lost about 22.3% of what they collected in property taxes. The other thing I wanted to quickly bring up, which I think is important, and I'll just do it for this slide, but it is on every single slide, is a lot of folks don't always know that they don't pay property taxes just to the city, just to the county, and just to the school board. They actually have a lot of taxing authorities. And so every taxing authority but the school board is impacted. And so a good example in this is the North Broward Hospital District. The North Broward Hospital District levies taxes. It levied about $274 million in property taxes in 2025. If this was in effect and there was a $150,000 homestead exemption, they would have levied about $246 million, which is about $28 million less than what they levied, about 10.4%. The next one I want to quickly go through is what happens in 2028. So if this is in effect, now the homestead exemption goes from $150,000 and it gets increased to $250,000. If that happens, here's the impact to the people of Broward County. Again, there are 424,899 homesteaded properties in Broward County. If this was in effect, the average savings per property owner would be right about $1,879. That's because not everybody, again, has $250,000 of value in their home that they pay taxes on. If they do, they would save about $2,661. Now, the county commission, again, levied about $1.8 billion in taxes. If this was in effect, they would have levied right about $1.47 billion, about $334 million less than what they levied. It's about an 18.5% decrease. Now, the town of Davie, again, is impacted a little bit greater than the county as a whole because it does have a lot of homesteaded properties. The town of Davie, again, has 20,970 homesteaded properties. If this was in effect and you have a $250,000 homestead exemption, the average savings for property owner would be right about $2,097. If they do pay taxes on $250,000 of value, they would save about $2,672. Again, Davie collected about $93 million in taxes. If this was in effect, they would have collected about $74 million. That would have been right about $19.2 million less than what you actually collected, about a 20.7% decrease. The next page, the two cities that are pretty much in contrast to each other now are Cooper City and Pembroke Park. Pembroke Park, again, is barely impacted. It's a mobile home community with very few homesteads. They would lose about 1.2% of what they collect in taxes. That's a negligible amount that they can easily make up. Cooper City, and I know I see Mayor Ross is here, is basically a bedroom community with a whole lot of residential properties and not a lot of commercial. They would lose about 34.5% of what they collected in taxes. So you can see it gets bigger the more homesteaded properties that you have. Finally, before I move to the non-homestead portion of my presentation, after you have a $250,000 exemption, this is where the language is somewhat vague, and it's hard to know what's going to happen. It basically says the legislature may, could, possibly, if it wants, ultimately do a schedule to eliminate all homestead property taxes. And so what I wanted to do, because it's a possibility, is see how that would impact Broward County and its municipalities. And so as you can see, if there were no property taxes that people would pay except to the school portion of the tax bill for homesteaded properties, this would be the numbers. There were 424,899 homesteaded properties in Broward County. If people did not pay property taxes to any taxing authority but the school board, they would save right about an average of $3,448. Again, the Broward County Commission collected about $1.8 billion in property taxes. If this was in effect, they would collect about $1.16 billion, about $636 million less than what they collected. It's a 35.3% decrease. Now, again, the town of Davie is impacted greater because it doesn't have as much non-homesteaded properties as some of the other areas, the county as a whole. Again, you have 20,970 homesteaded properties. If this were in effect, the average savings for a property owner in the town of Davie would be about $4,335. Again, the town of Davie in 2025 levied about $93 million in property taxes. If this was in effect, the town of Davie would have levied about $52.9 million. It would have been about a $40 million decrease, about 43.2%. And this one, you can definitely see the real stark difference between cities that have homestead and no homestead. Once again, Pembroke Park barely impacted. It's a mobile home community with only commercial properties. They would lose right about 1.4% of what they collect in taxes. Parkland, however, is a pure bedroom community. It is all homesteaded, has very few commercial properties. They will lose about 75.5% of what they collect in taxes, and that's where things get a little bit iffy because, as you know, the city of Parkland, just like you all, pays about 55% of what it collects in taxes pretty much goes to pay for public safety. But if you lose 75% of that, that's where I have no idea what would occur in order to make that up. Finally, the last one I wanted to quickly bring up, Madam Mayor, and thank you so much for giving me the opportunity to talk about this, is something that's not really getting a whole lot of conversation. That's because, of course, the biggest portion of this is focusing on homesteaded properties. But there is a portion that affects non-homestead property. So all other property that's taxed, that's not homesteaded, is also impacted. Under Florida law, the value you're taxed on for non-homesteaded properties can't go more than 10% except for the school portion of the tax bill. What this would do is drop that 10% cap to 5% to basically say the value that you're taxed on can't go more than 5% except for the school portion of the tax bill, which has no cap. And so I actually wanted to see how that would have impacted Broward County and the town of Davie if it was in effect for the 2025 tax year. As you can see, the Broward County Commission has 298,181 non-homesteaded properties throughout the county. If the county commission collected about $1.8 billion in taxes, if this was in effect, they would have collected right about $1.777 billion in taxes. They would have lost right about $26 million, or about 1.5% of what they collected. The town of Davie, again, has about 13,178 non-homesteaded properties in Davie. You all did levy about $93 million in taxes. If this was in effect, you would have collected about $92 million, about $1.2 million less than what you actually collected. That's pretty much the amendment. And the reason I just wanted to have the opportunity to talk about, and I really appreciate it, Madam Mayor, is again, at the end of the day, it's a very important vote for the people of the state of Florida. And I just believe that the folks of our communities and all throughout Florida just deserve to have all the information possible so they can make the best vote possible for themselves, their family, and their community. And so thank you so much for giving me the opportunity to say a few words. And as I said this before, thank you for the fantastic work that you do, this commission does, and also some of the best staff by far in Broward County. I'll tell you, they are awesome. You know, Rick is one of the most friendliest guys ever. Every time I talk with him, you all are very blessed to have just really great people that work here. Thank you, Madam
very
Mayor.
much.
Thank you.
We appreciate the information. It's extremely informative.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Thank you, Madam Mayor. Excellent. Well, thank you all so much. Appreciate y'all. Thank you.
Our last presentation is an update on small business resources and programs from our Economic Development Director.
Good evening, Mayor, Vice Mayor, Town Council, staff, and members of...
I forgot my...
I'm so sorry. Okay. Good evening again, Mayor, Vice Mayor, Town Council, staff, and members of the public. My name is Debbie Thomas, and I serve as the Economic Development Manager for the town of Davie. And tonight, I'm excited to present the town's Small Business Development Update. But before I begin, I want to explain why our business resources are so important. In life and in business, everyone needs support. Your support circles are designed to keep you anchored when you feel you're slipping away, to throw you a life jacket when you feel you're drowning, and to pull you back up when you fall off the boat. And for this reason, we've designed our small business toolbox to be less of a random series of incentive programs and more like the support system you need to keep your business sailing and succeeding. But in order for us to know what we need to make ourselves resourceful, we need to know what our businesses need to succeed, which leads me to our business initiatives. Our first initiative is the Davie Business Community Survey. This survey has been sent to Town of Davie businesses along with their business tax renewal form. It is also on our social media platforms and remains open to the public until September 30th. This assessment asks business owners for feedback relating to our existing resources, processes and procedures, and our overall effectiveness. Once we collect the responses, we plan to evaluate our programs and toolbox to make the necessary adjustments based on the insight we receive. Our next initiative stems from our recent rebranding of the Regional Activities Center land use designation to the Research, Institution, Technology, and Education Zone, also known as the Right Zone. The Right Zone houses 5 higher education institutions: Broward College, McFadder Tech, Florida Atlantic University, Nova Southeastern University, and the University of Florida, collectively known as the South Florida Education Center, SFEC. With this great economic asset, the town is uniquely positioned to lead South Florida's workforce development and educational needs. From this rebranding comes the Work Right Now initiative that connects employers with SFEC institutions for customized opportunities to upskill in advanced technology, transferable skills, and talent pipeline development. But what's anything exciting without some food? The Savory Davie initiative was launched August 1st and goes through September 15th. This initiative highlights Davie's culinary scene by featuring fixed-priced, multi-course meals at 8 participating restaurants across Davie. Not only does this promote Davie restaurants, but it also builds our business community and improves networking and camaraderie amongst participants. Now we're going to discuss some of our ongoing programs. We have recently partnered with SCORE Broward, which offers a wealth of resources and support to our businesses. SCORE consists of volunteers who are subject matter experts, providing mentorship opportunities, monthly training webinars, and other professional resources like financial and business templates to equip business owners with the essential documents they need. While SCORE offers memberships, our partners at the Small Business Development Center, the SBDC, at FAU provide one-on-one consulting. Their consultants assist business in getting started, expanding into new markets, and scaling operations. They also offer resources relating to accessing capital, market growth, international trade, continuity planning, and public workshops. Through the SBDC also comes a program known as the Apex Accelerator. Apex helps small businesses compete for local, state, and federal government contracts. They provide procurement technical assistance and also events such as innovation trade shows and workshops. Our next program has been a staple in our business community called Let's Talk Business. Let's Talk Business is a small business promotional program that allows businesses in the town and in the Community Redevelopment Agency, the CRA, area to be recognized at a town council or CRA board meeting. Recipients of the program receive a customized promo video that will be shared on the town's social media platforms. These videos will also be shared with the recipient and available at any time for their use. Additionally, recipients receive a token of recognition, a photo op with council, and are awarded a few minutes during the segment to promote themselves and their businesses. Lastly, we have our business resources. The CRA has 2 commercial property improvement grants for scopes relating to upgrading commercial sites within the CRA boundaries. These grants are reimbursable and require CRA board approval. We also have training grants through CareerSource Florida and CareerSource Broward to help cover costs for upskilling existing and new employees. In fact, Work Right Now program uses these resources to incentivize employers who want to train their workforce in advanced technology or other skills so they can be compensated for a portion of the training fees. Last year, one of the Davie businesses was approved for a $473,000 grant to assist in hiring and training 135 new employees at their new Davie location. The year prior, a Davie business received $185,000 for the creation of 87 new job positions and training. In conclusion, we take pride in our efforts to support Davie businesses and are committed to building relationships and the necessary support to sustain our business community. If anyone in the audience is interested in learning more about any of these programs or participating in the survey, please scan the QR code on the screen or feel free to reach out to me. I appreciate your time today, and I remain available if you have any questions.
Thank you very much. I really love the idea of Savor Davie. I've done 3, I got 5 to go. This will conclude our presentations. We're going to go, I need to do, I think before that, because they've been very patient, I want to do the proclamation for Indian Independence Day. It's always wonderful to celebrate with you, at especially at Gandhi Square. It's so meaningful to us to have this location with the statue. How many people have seen it at Falcons Lee Park? It's really, yes, double. It's a great statement as to where the town of Davie sets its priorities. And to me, as a history teacher, Gandhi represents the fight for nonviolence, and Martin Luther King Jr. went to India and visited with Gandhi and brought back that concept, which became the basis of our civil rights movement. So there's a great connection there. I'm not going to read the whole thing, but basically it's whereas the town of Davie is a multicultural community that has a rich tradition of celebrating significant milestones and historical events with our residents, and whereas we are proud to join with our fellow citizens of Indian heritage throughout Davie and beyond as they commemorate the 80th India Independence Day. Whereas the town of Davie welcomes the opportunity to promote a greater understanding of various cultures of the world on the 80th India Independence Day, now therefore let it be proclaimed that the Mayor and Town Council proclaim August 15th, 2026 as India Independence Day. Thank you very much for being with us and joining us to accept that proclamation, which I will probably read again on Independence Day at Gandhi Square. Well, hopefully we'll see you there.
Mayor and Council, thank you very much again for your recognition and the kind words. And again, as I said, I'm going to ditto what Marty said about this town council and the staff, and we'll see you again after November the 3rd. Thank you.
Thank you. Okay. We're going to go on to the items that need to be tabled. The applicant is requesting a tabling of 16, the site plan for Prestige Sterling Homes, to December 2nd. May I have a motion, please?
Motion to table site plan of the Prestige Sterling Townhomes to
Second it.
December 2nd.
Second it.
All those in favor say aye.
Aye.
Aye. Any opposed? That's unanimous. Thank you. Under the public hearings, and we need to do each one of these individually, the applicant is requesting a tabling of 20, 21, 22, 23, and 24. So we'll start with 20, which is a variance. The request is to table until December 2nd. May I have a motion?
Motion to table item 20 till December 2nd.
Second.
Roll call.
Mayor Paul?
Yes.
Vice Mayor Whitman?
Yes.
Councilmember Starkey?
Yes.
Councilmember Lewis?
Yes.
Councilmember Alfonso?
Yes.
Motion passes.
Thank you. Number 21, variance. May I have a motion to set it aside to December 2nd?
Motion to
Table.
table the item till December 2nd, on 21.
Second?
Roll call?
Councilmember Starkey?
Yes?
Councilmember Lewis?
Yes.
Mayor Paul?
Yes.
Vice Mayor Whitman?
Yes.
Councilmember Alfonso?
Yes.
Motion passes.
22 is a variance. May I have a motion to table until December 2nd?
Motion to table item 22, the variance until December 2nd meeting.
Second. Roll call, please.
Councilmember Alfonso?
Yes.
Vice Mayor Whitman?
Yes.
Councilmember Lewis?
Yes.
Councilmember Starkey?
Yes.
Mayor Paul?
Yes.
Motion passes.
We'll also have a request to table number 23, the land use amendment, to December 2nd.
Table to move the land use amendment item 23 to the December 2nd agenda.
Second. Roll call, please.
Mayor Paul?
Yes.
Councilmember Alfonso?
Yes.
Councilmember Starkey?
Yes.
Councilmember Lewis?
Yes.
Vice Mayor Whitman?
Yes.
Motion passes.
Thank you. And 24 is the rezoning, also being requested to table to December 2nd.
Motion to table the rezoning number 24 to December 2nd.
Second.
Fight over it. Go ahead, roll call. I'm sorry.
Vice Mayor Whitman?
Yes.
Mayor Paul?
Yes.
Councilmember Starkey?
Yes.
Councilmember Alfonso?
Yes.
Councilmember Lewis?
Yes.
Motion passes.
Okay, thank you. Now we'll go to the consent agenda. I would like to pull 8, 14, and 15. Is there anyone else that wants it?
Yes, Mayor.
Michelle Hauser.
I would like to pull item number 9.
Okay. May I have a motion to approve the consent agenda minus 8, 9, 14, and 15?
Motion to approve consent agenda minus 8, 9, 14, and 15.
Second.
All those in favor say aye.
Aye.
Aye, any opposed? That's unanimous, thank you. Okay, now we go to public hearing. Okay, come on.
Number 8.
Okay, number 8 is our agreement with the Audubon Society, and we just need to pass this as the revised agreement that had been notarized. May I have a motion to approve?
Mayor, I'd like to make a motion to approve it as revised and also invite the Audubon, Doug
Yeah, I
Young
was
is
gonna
here to
do
speak
that.
on the issue as well, so while we're under discussion before the second, I think that's appropriate. Or do you want to approve it first?
Oh, would like to vote on it first.
Okay. Motion to
If-
approve?
Okay?
Second.
All those in favor say aye.
Aye.
Any opposed? That's unanimous.
Welcome, Doug.
Come on up, could you say a few words? This has been a long time in coming, and we're so
Exactly.
excited to have this partnership with the Audubon Society at Sunny Lake. So thank you very much for enduring with us.
And in honor of Doug, I have worn my owl T-shirt, Mama and her 2 babies. And Project Perch, as many of you know, is a great addition. Thank you.
So I just wanted to say thank you. It's been a long time. It's been, Susan reminded me, I thought it was 10 or 11 years. Apparently, we started discussing this 15 years ago.
Right, Mayor?
So it's really good. There's a couple of quick things. This year is the 70th anniversary of Broward County Audubon Society, South Florida Audubon. And we never had a home. So it's terrific that we're going to have a home. And like I said, we expect to do a lot of good things at Sunny Lake Bird Sanctuary. The building, we already call it an eco center, and we expect to have all kinds of programs in the building, out of the building, students, organization, whatever, speakers, and so we're looking forward to a lot of action there.
Thank you very much.
Thanks a
We
lot.
appreciate it. Good job.
Mayor, I also want to thank Philip Holstay, because I know with him and his staff that we've all put together quite a bit of history there and pushed for the grant, and you and I went up, as you recall, with the children in the community. They also attended to go up and get our grant there, and I want to thank Philip for that, because he helped very, very much orchestrate that. And thank you, Mayor.
Thank you.
My favorite project, one of them.
Okay, you've got number 9.
Yes, Madam Mayor, I requested to pull item 9 because I need to be consistent with the town's practice of transparency, and in consultation with the town's attorney, I'm required to abstain from voting on this matter because I am employed by Nova Southeastern University, which is a party to this agreement. So
Okay, you filled out the forms and everything?
we've taken care of that.
Okay. May we have a motion to approve number 9?
Motion to approve number 9, the Fifth
Second it.
Amendment.
Second it.
All those in favor say aye.
Aye.
Any opposed? With Councilmember Alfonso recusing himself. Okay. How many people are here to speak about Cameron Cove? Just one? Oh. All right, I'm going to, if you don't mind, I think there's just one, is there just one variance? I think so, yeah. I just want to take 19 first. That's you, correct? Will the town attorney read the resolution by title, please?
A resolution of the Town of Davie, Florida, taking final action on variance application V26-039 to Tally, providing for severability, providing for conflict, and providing for an effective date.
If there's anyone that wishes to speak for or against, you can come forward at this time. Mr. Mayor, you could, okay.
I've learned it's
Just
better.
to answer questions if we have
That's all I'm
any.
here for.
Okay, thank you. I'll close the public hearing then. Is any questions or concern by council? No? I close the public hearing. If there's no discussion, may I have a motion to approve and a second?
Motion to approve?
Second it.
When we have a roll call, please?
Vice Mayor Whitman?
Yes.
Councilmember Starkey?
Yes.
Councilmember Alfonso?
Yes,
Councilmember Lewis?
Yes.
Mayor Paul?
Yes,
Motion passes.
thank you.
Thank you very much.
Okay, we're going to do 14 and 15, which is Cameron Cove. What I'd like to do first is have a report from staff.
Good evening, Mayor, Vice Mayor, Council, Administration, and members of the public. My name is David Abramson. I'm the Deputy Planning and Zoning Manager for the Town of Davie. The proposed project consists of 2 development applications, a delegation request to amend the restrictive note on the recorded plat, as well as a site plan. The overall site is approximately 21.5 acres in size, and is generally located on the west side of Southwest 79th Avenue, between Nova Drive to the north and Southwest 30th Street to the south. The site is designated residential 10 dwelling units per acre on the town's future land use map and is zoned RM16. The existing residential, multifamily residential development on the site was built in the mid-1980s, and the applicant is proposing to modify the site by filling in a private lake to accommodate the construction of 2 3-story apartment buildings. The new buildings would consist of 72 2-bedroom units. The project also includes reconstruction of the community's clubhouse. The architectural design of the new buildings are similar to the existing apartments within Cameron Cove and consist of stucco wall banding, tile roofs, stone veneer, and balconies. Additionally, the building color palette utilizes earth tone colors with white bases and gray accent colors. Access to the site will be provided and maintained through Southwest 79th Avenue, which leads to private internal drives and parking islands. The overall site will include 507 parking spaces which meet code. The applicant is proposing to utilize Broward County bonus residential density policy by restricting 11 of the proposed or new units as moderate income for a period of 30 years. The petitioner has fulfilled the public participation requirements, and staff finds the applications complete and suitable for further consideration. And this concludes staff's presentation.
Thank you.
Thank you.
We'll be available for questions. Would the applicant like to make a presentation, and then we'll have comments from the public?
By the way, Mayor, the quasi has been waived.
Okay, thank you very much.
Get myself organized here. Good evening, everyone. Thank you so much for having us here. My name is Jana Loda. I'm an attorney with the law firm of Holland & Knight with offices at 515 East Las Olas, Fort Lauderdale, Florida. We are here tonight on behalf of Sun Point Cove LLC, the owner of the Cameron Cove Apartments. With me tonight, I'm just going to introduce them in case any questions arise that I am unable to answer. We have two representatives from the ownership, Carlos Bernio as well as Alan Rodriguez. We also have members of our project team, including Chad Edwards, our civil engineer, Eric Schofield, our planning and landscape architect, as well as Juan Ortega, our traffic engineer. As staff indicated, we're here before you tonight for two applications, the most notable of which is our site plan amendment. Real quickly, I'm going to take you through a presentation that hopefully will answer a lot of questions, and of course I will stand ready to answer any questions you may have after. Real quickly, this is just an aerial depiction of what staff just indicated, the location of the Cameron Cove Apartments. It is located, again, Nova Drive to the north, Southwest 30th Street to the south. It is located immediately west of the Arrowhead, the shops at Arrowhead, and then of course that is the Town of Davie Golf Course, the Arrowhead Golf Course further to the west. As you can see, the most notable thing with this property is its long linear shape. It is a very large property by property standards. It's over 21 acres. But very unusual because of that long linear shape stretching from Nova all the way down to 30th. The other most notable thing that you can see that's visible, and I do have another exhibit that I prepared just to hopefully make this a little bit more clear, is the amount of water bodies and open space that affects this property. Presently, without anything happening, this site is over 75% open space, which means it's 75% landscape and water bodies. And that's just the area that's enclosed in the red outline, which is owned by our client. That is actually the reverse of what you typically see with development. Typically with development, you have about 25% open space, and the rest is building, your parking areas and whatnot. We're literally the flip of that on this property. The property does have two private stormwater ponds, one at the north that you can see that's fully enclosed in our property, as well as one to the south. The property is bounded further to the west, as I indicated, by this large common lake that is shared between the town of Davie and Cameron Cove. It's partially owned by the town, and everything outlined in red is owned by the Cameron Cove owner. The property to the further west on the north side of our property, which is the location of the proposed apartments, is the Arrowhead condominium, which is a much more dense four-story residential development. So I just wanted to focus on this just so that you could see those particular elements associated with our site, because it will become important as we get into the crux of our application. All right, so here I just want to talk a little bit about the history of this property. Staff indicated it was originally developed back in the mid-1980s, actually around 1986, so we just celebrated our 40th year. Actually just went through our 40-year recertification for all the buildings located on the site. It's important to note that when this project was originally developed, it was developed as an affordable housing project through FHC bonds, which meant that a significant portion of the units on the site we're actually restricted for low-income housing, and we're restricted for over 40 years with this property. Which means that our owner, Sun Point Cove, who has owned this property since 2002, so almost 24 years they've owned this property, has held this property and held it out as an affordable property for over 2 decades. Those bonds expired last year, but notwithstanding that, our owner stepped forward and continued that affordability, entering into a voluntary restriction to restrict 71 of the 221 units as affordable for low income. And what does that mean when I say low income? In Broward County, low income means 80% of AMI. And what does that mean? In layman's terms, it means that 71 of the existing units must be reserved for households who are earning around $71,000 to $74,000. It's aimed at working households such as teachers, first responders, healthcare workers, hospitality employees, office staff, and other members of the local workforce, including residents of the town of Davie, who may struggle to find affordable workforce or market rate housing here in the town. It's also important to know, again, that this is not a developer entity. This is, again, a long-term owner of this property. Property is actually owned by TIAA, or teachers, and is owned by 2 pension funds, which is why this particular development is so important to keep this as a long-term viable asset, not only for TIAA, but also for the town of Davie. So before we get into the application tonight, I just want to talk a little bit about some of the constraints associated with this property. The property is almost entirely, of the 221 units, 220, all but one, are 1-bedroom units. And they are a smaller sized unit compared to our competitors, with the 1-bedroom units ranging around 609 to 650 square feet. Access to the buildings is actually around the front, which means the balconies that are associated with the apartment units actually face the parking lot themselves. None of the units, or very few of the units, actually have washers and dryers in them. It is served by a centralized operating system, which is becoming more functionally obsolete and costly to maintain. The other thing that our community lacks is that true clubhouse amenity that many of the modern and more recently developed apartment communities maintain. So what we are proposing is a very limited, very targeted improvement to add 72 new units, all 2-bedroom, in 2 new garden-style apartments on that north stormwater pond to help diversify our unit mix, introduce a new unit type that will have an affordable housing component to it, similar to our existing units, and will infuse capital that will allow us to modernize this property for the long term. And then most notably, to add this new clubhouse amenity that is so vitally important. So here's just the site plan summary. Again, I won't repeat what staff had indicated. The most important thing of note here is that this site plan meets or exceeds all the requirements in the town code. I know as you were just going through the continuances of one project, we are not asking for any variances, we're not asking for any waivers. We are meeting all the town requirements as it relates to setbacks, massing, open space, you name it, parking across the board. We did early on have a variance request, but we have worked with staff and redesigned the project so that we were able to eliminate that single variance request. The most important thing here I want to highlight on this slide is the amount of open space that will remain after our development, if this development's approved tonight. We will still be maintaining 65.5% of the overall site as open space, which includes 6.24 acres of water. Here's just a comparison slide. We wanted just to kind of show you how our property stacks up with some other apartment communities here in the town of Davie. You can see where our rents kind of stack up, our average rents, against other projects such as the Amley Toscana, the Zona Village, Centro at Davie, Shalimar at Davie, and Palm Ranch. These are all a comparison of our 1-bedroom units to their 1-bedroom units. The other thing you can see that kind of stands out is the size of our unit. Our units are small in comparison to the other one-bedroom units that are out there on the marketplace. And that's something that we can't change. But what we can change is the experience that people maybe have on our community. We also did a comparison of in-unit amenities and also community amenities. And that's where you see, again, that we have no true clubhouse amenity. We're not gated. We don't have those kind of lounge facilities that you see. We don't have in-unit washers and dryers. We have a community laundry facility that serves our project. So the approval of this application would help us with the modernization of this asset and help narrow that amenity gap. So the key takeaways that I'll just summarize this slide very quickly is that we are limited by that we are predominantly an all one-bedroom community. Our one-bedroom units are very small. We have no in-unit washers or dryers. We have no central clubhouse or fitness amenities, and we have no centralized operating systems that serve the community. I mean, we have only centralized operating systems that serve our community. As compared to our other competitors, which have in-unit washers and dryers, larger units, more modern finishes and kitchens, resort-style pools, broader unit, diversified unit mix, and most notably, none of those units that we are aware are providing the affordable units at the rate that we're providing at the 80% AMI. None of them are providing and comparing in that regard. So now a quick turn to the site plan and quickly walk you through this. And this is, again, showing the proposed addition specifically at the north end of our site, because that, again, puts us as far away as possible from the closest residential to the west versus the south, which is right close to the single family. So we specifically chose the north stormwater pond for the location of these two new buildings. Again, this very targeted amendment in addition to our site plan. At the north end, you see those two new buildings, and then we move down to the south with some additional amendments. But here, just taking a look at this, hopefully you can get a perspective to the west across the common lake that we have that serves both the golf course and our property, which will still remain and remains untouched. You have then the golf course, the walkway, the golf cart path, and then you get to the Arrowhead condominium. That is over almost 400 feet away, over the length of a football field from property line to property line, just to give you a perspective. Here's another rendering that we prepared just to kind of graphically and hopefully easily show just the water bodies that are on our property. This again does not include the remainder of that lake that is on the town of Davie's property as part of the golf course further to the west. Again, this highlights that as you see there with the blue and the landscaping, we still have that 65.5% of open space that will remain on our property. So now I'm just going to walk you through from the north down through the site with the improvements. So starting at the north, this is where the lion's share of the improvements are going to happen. Of the 21.5 acres, about 4.7 of those acres are actually being affected by this site plan. You see the two new garden-style apartments that are being proposed. One thing that we strategically did was to place the parking associated with that on the east side. So again, for our neighbors to the west, all they will see is the landscaping and the two new proposed buildings. That activity associated with the parking lot will be completely hidden from view. You see the robust landscaping that is being proposed all along the water line and through our parking areas. One of the things we did, which is what eliminated our variances, to change the circulation into and out of that into a one-way condition. That eliminated the one variance that we had associated with this particular project. As far as staff noted, the material finishes will be the same as the existing three-story buildings. These are three-story buildings at about 28.5 feet, still much below the 35-foot height limitation in the underlying zoning district. It will be have a similar roof material to be consistent with the remaining property. Again, you can see there's still a lake feature that runs along the property. The common lake that is shared between the town of Davie and this property remains untouched. All right, I'm moving now just a little bit further south. The main thing that's happening here is we're adding a little bit of parking along the Southwest 79th Avenue, which is actually privatized at that point. It's completely located within our property. It's the main drive aisle that serves our property north to south. But what we are doing is adding some additional landscaping along the water's edge. This is both relocated and new landscaping that's being proposed as part of the project. And now we're continuing further south, and here you see the community pool. We have additional, again, relocated and new trees that are being located along the water's edge. And now you see the parking and our new clubhouse facility, which is a key component to this application to add an amenity to help us to be competitive with our competition, as you noted from the slide I showed you earlier. All right, so here is, again, another view of the site layout. And I am, see my landscaping somehow got messed up off on the left. Apologize for that typo. However, I've kind of already walked you through the landscaping that's being proposed on the site. We do have our landscape architect here who is able to answer any questions that I cannot. But one thing that we did in response to some of the comments that we got is that we took our new palms and we looked very critically to see where we could replace those palms with actual trees. So we were able to replace half of the palms, the new palms that we're proposing, with trees. We weren't able to do all the palms with trees, just simply because of the planting constraints where those palms were being proposed. But in all, we are adding a total of 159 new trees and 15 new palms for a total of 164 trees in all. Another addition that we did, and this again is in response to comments that we heard, was the addition of plant gardens throughout the site, or butterfly gardens. So what you see here with the blue circles are where we are proposing new flower gardens or butterfly gardens. That is something that we think will very positively benefit the property. We're focusing on our access points down at the south, as well as at our kind of main entrance up there at the north, and in front of our new clubhouse, as well as the two new garden-style apartment buildings to the north. So now I'll quickly turn to the elevations. These are photographs of the existing buildings. Again, a unique feature of our property is that you don't kind of access this property through the center. To get to your unit, you walk around the front. Access is from the front. So the balconies on these one bedrooms actually face the parking areas. But over the last 6 years, the property owner has put a lot of money and investment into the property. They have repainted all of the buildings with that gray and off-white motif that you see with recessed colors. They have gone through their 40-year recertification, done balcony upgrades, have done work with the landscaping, as well as a host of other items associated with this property. So here is the elevations of the garden-style building that is being proposed. Again, it's 3 stories. It's carrying out the same type of roof, the same relief with the dark gray and the white, again, to tie in with the existing buildings that are located on the property. Of note, this building will have individual HVAC units, which is unique to this particular property because the rest of the property operates on a centralized system. Those units will be located between in that center section behind a concrete parapet wall. As a result, we are confident that there will be no issues with noise to the surrounding area because of that large concrete parapet wall that will house those individual HVAC units. And again, these units will all be will be 2-bedroom units. Here's just a layout of the typical floor plan that will be throughout those 2 buildings, with a master and a bedroom with the common areas in between. They will also have a full-size washer and dryer, as well as covered balconies. And here's the elevation of the clubhouse. This is the new feature that we are really looking to add into this community. That's located at the south end of the property. Again, carrying out the same finishes that you saw in the new elevations, as well as what you see throughout the community with the pitched roof, the white and gray aesthetic, and that kind of modern feel. The clubhouse will again include a new fitness center, club room, meeting space for our residents, as well as leasing offices for the community. It will let out, you can see with the French doors, out onto a terrace, all of which to be enjoyed by our residents. Here's some renderings that we did just to kind of give you a feel for what the two buildings will look like, and you can kind of see the roofs of the existing buildings because it has the same finishes off to the east as well as to the north. This is a vantage point because, again, there's still a large lake that will be between these buildings, the golf course fairway, the golf carts, and that Arrowhead community to the west. This is a view looking to the east, southeast. Now here's a view looking to the northwest. I'm kind of standing in the middle of the building to the south. We've shadowed it out just so you can get this perspective point. Now I'd like just to talk about a few things and then I'll conclude my presentation, so I do appreciate your patience with me. Through the course of our kind of the evolution of this application as we've went through DRC and most notably the community presentation and whatnot, there's been like three things that have been kind of raised as questions, and one was open space, whether or not this is a loss of open space for the town. So I just wanted to go back to this particular exhibit to again highlight that first and foremost, we are not touching anything on the town property, nothing with the Arrowhead Golf Course. That common lake that is shared, partially owned by the town and by the owners of Cameron Cove, remains untouched. Even after the development of the new clubhouse and the two new garden-style apartment buildings, we are still maintaining on this site 65.5% open space, which includes 6.25 acres of lakes. And you can see those lakes visibly with the blue kind of wavy graphic here on this image. The next item that was raised, and again, we do have our civil engineer here, is drainage. As part of this development, admittedly, we are removing one of our stormwater ponds, excuse me. But with that, we are developing a series of above and below grade stormwater features such that our discharge into the common system doesn't change at all over what we have today. And in many respects, we are actually making it better. So to the extent that there's any concern that this development is somehow going to increase flooding to the area, that is not an issue as we are retaining all of that storage on site. And then last, I just wanted to talk briefly about traffic, because this was the other item that was raised. Again, we have complied with the town code, and we provided the traffic statement, which showed that the proposed trips associated with the increase in development, these 72 new units, would be considered a de minimis impact on the transportation network. And just to kind of put it into context for you, we looked at AM and PM peak hour trips because I believe that's the one that's the most consideration for individuals. And in the AM peak hour, we are looking at 23 new trips, and that's both trips coming in and out. So that's 5 trips in, 18 trips out. And that is split between the 2 access points that we have. And it's a similar number when you look at the net PM peak hour. And so with all of that, that's where our traffic impact statement came back, that the impact associated with this development is considered de minimis. So with that concludes my presentation. But I just want to conclude by saying that this is a targeted amendment to our existing site by a long-standing owner here in the town of Davie. We are not a developer that's coming in looking to develop and just leave the town. We've been here for over 24 years. We are seeking to infuse new units to diversify our unit mix, to allow many of our families to continue to stay on the property, and to allow this owner to modernize a 40-year-old community, a community that has provided affordable housing to this town for over 4 decades, 2 of which they have owned the property, and which affordability has been continued by this owner voluntarily since. It's for all these reasons that we respectfully request your favorable consideration tonight of our application. I, of course, stand ready to answer any questions that you may have, and if I may, I would appreciate a few moments for rebuttal after any public comments. And I thank you.
Now open it to the public, and I'm not going to hold you to any time.
Thank you, Madam Mayor. I appreciate that. Again, my name is Julie Patterson. My address is 8013 Southwest 29th Street, Davie, Florida, 33328. My house was on that rendering. My husband and I attended the hearing with the people that do the planning. The planning board said no to this development. I live next to this development. I walk through this development. 71 units doesn't seem like a lot, but if you go around University at 5 o'clock or when Nova's in session, it's impossible. Adding 71 additional residents, double that, is going to make a big impact. University, in the past 23 years, I'm sure you know, between all the apartments that were built by the hospital itself, all the apartments that were built have been approved for Davie Road, all the apartments that are on Griffin, all these multifamily units are causing us on the west side of Davie, they're impacting our life. Mayor Paul, when you first ran for office, I visited you at your home, and what was your purpose? To stop the commons, because you didn't want to impact your way of living. You stopped the commons. I'm asking you to not approve this. I'm very upset. I work from home, as I told you. I look at the canal between my house and the golf course, at those trees that are going to fall on my house. When it rains, that canal breaches. This is 30th Street. This is my road. This is my street. When it rains, it floods. 30th Street floods. Ever since 595 was done with the express lanes, all that water had nowhere to go. They redid, as you know, the golf course was sold. That's how you acquired it, because they had to redo all the canals to take in all that water that wasn't going to have anywhere to go because that 595 express lane was put into the middle of that road. This is where it goes. It goes down my street. I never had flooding before. We have it now. Filling in a pond, they say they're going to have those things under the water to get the water. You know, they say that it's not going to affect it. I'm begging you. You have increased as I'm glad that the water people spoke. They talked about the flooding. I'm glad that the property appraiser spoke. He talked about all the new development that you guys have approved for this town. I'm coming to you as a president from the west side of Davie and asking you to stop, please. We do not need any more construction. We do not need any more people coming to our area. It's too crowded. I live in a great area. Within 2 miles, I can get anything I want. I can go to 500 restaurants. I have Costco, Home Depot. We have several. It's a great place to live, I agree. But we can't, how many more multifamily units are you going to allow? And it is impacting our way of life. So, I've never come and asked about any other units. I understand that we have many colleges. We're a college town. It's a wonderful thing. All the colleges that are in Davie, and those students need places to live. There are many, many apartment facilities available for them to live in. All the new apartments on Griffin, all the wonderful stores that you're putting in for the small businesses. Those are all wonderful things that you're doing. You've made Davie Road beautiful. All those new apartments are over there that are ready to be built or ready to be moved into once they're completed. I'm one person, and the reason I'm one person is because they've asked for continuances 4 times, because they had to get their stuff together, because they know we're going to complain about the drainage and the water, and they say it's minimal going down University. They don't live here. They don't know what it's like to go on 30th Street when Nova's in session. I live here. I've lived here for 24 years. And I'm begging to please say no to this project.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Is there anyone else who would like to speak?
Yes, I would like to.
Come ahead.
I apologize for the hat. I have a somewhat aggressive dermatologist, and
Just,
old bald white guys need to stay out of the sun, and I haven't learned my lesson at my age.
just state your name and address.
I will. My name is Stephen Patterson. This is my wife, and yes, we live in the same house. We managed to not kill each other, so we still reside in the same location. Judy, I'm from, Wellborn. I'm actually from California originally, lived in Sacramento, and I watched what's happening to Davie happen in Sacramento. It used to be a great community. Develop. All the farmland disappeared. There's no longer peach trees and nectarine trees and anything else. It's concrete and buildings. And I moved out of there right after 9/11, moved to Florida. I'd met Julie and I moved here, and we were living in South Miami. And we got the heck out of South Miami because of what's happening here. The development. And we started to realize this was not a place to raise a 14-year-old daughter. And we got out. And when we initially moved to Davie, I will tell you, Danielle was not happy. She didn't think it was a good move. She missed all her friends. But I will tell you, I think she went to Western High, and within the first 6 months, she came home to Julie and said, I won't use the word she used, but she said, basically, you screwed me up. And she realized Davie was a great town. She could walk to the bus. Didn't have to worry about being accosted on the way to the bus in the morning on those hours when it was dark. Traffic wasn't nuts. She went to Western, and she came home one day and said, these students actually care about their grades. And she made this huge adjustment. We thought this was a good move, not only for Danielle, but us. We're on the dogleg 14th of the Davie golf course. It's phenomenal. At night, it's quiet. But what now we're seeing is we can look across the golf course and see the lights of these buildings. And they're going to add more. And so when they talk about it's going to be a minimal amount of impact on traffic, the traffic is nuts. Any of you folks travel down 30th Street between Pine Island and University during the winter, it's flooded. I come up from Miami. I work down at one of the universities in Miami. When I come up and I don't get off on Griffin anymore during the winter. I have to go all the way around, come down University to get to my home because 30th is going to be flooded and the traffic's a nightmare. Judy, when you were running for office, Julie's right. We came to your home. I wanted to see you face to face and see what you're all about. And you were all about open space, preserving Davie and everything that is Davie. And in the last 15 years, we've seen that disappear. I remember when they put in the Walmart, and you had come into office, you were sworn in, and people raised holy Cain about it. And you said, there's nothing I can do about that. That contract with the town and the agreement is already in place. But I agree. I would not have allowed that to happen. We now have a giant hospital across the road. We have a gigantic apartment across the road. And all we're seeing is these open spaces being sold. Apartments, and traffic is a nightmare. I feel like I'm back in Sacramento. And I lived in the city, in San Francisco for a while. I feel like I'm back in the city. I certainly am starting to feel like I'm back in South Miami. Everything we tried to escape is encroaching and moving in on us. And I will tell you, don't be moved by the fact that there's nobody here, because as Julie said, meeting after meeting after meeting we came, continuance. And everybody read this as, you've already made up your mind. You're going to vote in favor of this project. I plead with you not to. I remember when the Commons was going to be built, that was not going to impact my home. But I remember meeting with you, and you talked about going to have your kitchen cabinet. Meet with people, talk to them, see what they were interested in. What did they want? What did they not want? And I thought, you're somebody I can get behind and support, and I voted for you. Because I like what you said. And when it came to the Commons, your big concern was the impact on traffic, and clearly more development happened. Once that development happened, you'd see more. And even though it wasn't going to impact me and it wasn't going to be in my neighborhood, I supported everything you were about when it came to that. You're right, the open spaces, kids being able to walk to school without being afraid they're going to be accosted. Quiet enjoyment. These folks don't live here. I do. This is a money-making machine for them. We own our homes. The last thing we want is more traffic, potentially more flooding, and daughters being accosted on the way to school. So I plead with you. My wife is 100% right. We've spent a lot of time thinking about this, and I'm sure we're not articulating what it is we really want to, but I want you to really consider. Davie is becoming, and I love Sacramento, I got a family member who's a state assembly member out there. He'll beat me up if I badmouth Sacramento. But I will tell you, my mother, I moved her out here 14 years ago, and I say to my mom,
I was just going to ask you, stay to the point.
the point is, please, don't approve this project. We have apartments all over the town. I don't think we need more. They can come back in a few years if we determine that you need more based on those apartments that you currently have that are not at capacity. But at this point, I would ask you not to approve this project.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Is there anyone else who would like to speak? I'll close the public hearing. I know you wanted a rebut, but I don't think, just keep it.
I will keep it brief, I promise. Thank you,
I'm sure-
Madam Mayor.
I'm
Jana
sure
Loda.
you'll be just repeating some
I
of the
will,
things.
I will be very brief. I just wanted to respond to some of the comments that were raised. One is, again, I just want to emphasize, and our civil engineer is here, is that the design both of the above-ground detention, the below-ground R tanks, which are being used with your new town hall, I might add, shows that we are not going to be discharging anything more, not one drop more than what we are currently discharging into that common system, which means that we will not be a cause or factor in any flooding that may be ongoing today. We actually hope to make that situation better as far as reducing the discharge from our property. I just want to clarify that this is not development for development's sake. This is a very targeted, very specific request that we're making, given the nature of this asset, the history of this asset, the fact that we are trying to continue to maintain the affordability of this asset, to infuse more capital so that we can modernize it so it stays as a viable apartment community here for the town, and doesn't age and all of a sudden become something that you guys won't be proud of. So to say that it's overdevelopment or we're just developing for development's sake just to add more units, that is not the case. Again, this is owned, property is owned ultimately by two pension funds, which is why, because at the rate we're going right now, we are not competitive at all with our competitors. The fact that we do provide affordability means that we are not able to really do what we need to do to just keep this asset effectively afloat. And I understand University Drive. I actually live in Plantation just due north, and so I know a lot of the issues with University Drive is both Town of Davie and Plantation. We have very limited access points, particularly between University and, for us, it's 441. You all have Davie Road at least, to get to 595. And that is a big driving force in terms of the traffic. So I believe there was a statement that we were going to double the traffic on University. Again, it is a very small traffic impact associated with our development. So I just want to highlight again that, but for the fact that we are here because of the policy, because the town's land use is a limiting factor, the county land use would allow the density that we're looking for, which is 13 units per acre. The town's zoning would allow it. We are meeting and exceeding the code as it relates to the site plan. So we are certainly not seeking to overdevelop this property at all. So with that, again, I just want to ask you that you do favorably consider the application so that we can continue to invest in this property moving forward. And again, I stand ready to answer any questions that you may have, as well as our team, and I thank you for the few moments that you gave me. Thank you.
Does anyone have any questions?
Well, I'd like to make some comments too.
Okay.
Ready? All right. Mr. and Mrs. Patterson, I thank you for coming and expressing your views on this. As I reviewed this project, and I had the, I guess, luck of being at the Water Management District when the project was being discussed over there. So I got an understanding of how they're managing the water. And I look at what's happening in the community. By the way, I live in Whitehall, so I come down 30th all the time to go to work. I work at Nova Southeastern University, so during a certain time in the morning, I line up and cross the street. I understand what you're talking about. But we have to weigh, I feel that we have to weigh some of the positives with some of the negatives. People are moving to Florida. People are moving to South Florida in large numbers. And some of the things that you mentioned, you have 500 restaurants near you. Like, a lot of people want to have the 500 restaurants near you. I moved into the area a little over maybe 2 years ago from Miami Lakes, and I work at Nova, so I figured let me be close to work. It's a beautiful community. I like the area. So it is attractive. So how do we manage that growth and balance the needs of folks to have a hometown feel along with keeping things affordable? Because that's another thing. As an employer at Nova Southeastern University, some of my employees right now cannot live anywhere near the university. They have to drive far away. So I look at a property like this one, which has apartments that are of greater density, actually, just to the west on the north side where this particular apartments are proposed. And I see this as a possibility, right? They have 71 units that are affordable at this time, and they're proposing 11 more units, so we're making 80-some units. I do have some concerns. They talked about the water retention. You live on the south side where the single-family homes are, and there's another pond down on that end. And I guess maybe there's some concern what happens in the future. I mean, are they going to go and do that pond in the future as well? They're not asking for any variances or anything like that, so I mean, it's a possibility. So I would ask of the proponent, is there a possibility to restrict any further development beyond these two garden styles and say, like, the pond in the south will never be converted? Is that, Mr. Attorney? I'm not sure.
Jana Loda with Holland and Knight, once again. I can, would you like to make it a condition of approval, we can confirm that we will not fill that south stormwater pond if that's something that the council would like to see. We'd happy to have that as a restriction that travels with the property.
Okay. And the reason I asked for that is because that one is closer to the single-family homes. I mean, on the northern end, there, like I said, there are apartments which I think are like 5 stories. This one's a 3-story. Is that those apartments on the 4 stories? Okay, driven by there. I will say that the community, from my experience, and I've driven up and down through there a number of times, is well maintained. It's clean. I did get a report from the police department asking, is there a high crime area? And I didn't get any feedback that it was a high crime area. It's actually a limited number of calls. So the fact that it has an affordable housing component, I know sometimes people worry about that, and it hasn't proven to be so. The other thing that you mentioned, and it just clicked my mind, they have been affordable for 40 years, but there's an extension of 5 years that was voluntary.
Apologies, Jana Loda. Yes, the property was originally restricted for 30 years. 10 years in, they did a redo, so that extended it for effectively another 10 years. So the restriction ended July of last year, June, July last year, and so the owner voluntarily entered into a 5-year extension, or restricting 71 of the units for low income. So that law is currently in place. We are in the 2nd year.
Okay. And the additional 11 units will go 30 years.
The additional 11 units would be restricted per the county Broward Next for 30 years, yes.
Okay. Well, what I was thinking is this. If, and one important thing to remember is the owner is a pension fund. A pension fund that funds pensions for teachers, because TIAA, that's what they do. And the only way they're able to provide the long-term sustainability of those funds is they have to earn some income, obviously. Teachers put money into the fund, those funds get invested, they're getting invested in properties like this one, they have a rate of return, and they're able to pay actuarially the dollars that are required to keep those teachers' pensions for a very long time. They have been an owner here for over 20 years, as they noted. If they don't get this approval, the property is probably worth more to them as a cash value and go redevelop somewhere else to make their money, earn more money, than it is to stay here. I'm not putting any words in their mouth. This is my personal opinion on this. I haven't had any of these conversations. So I'm almost inclined to say I know that they have kept a clean community for a number of years. It has been a community with low crime or no crime. The engineering, again, I was at the Water Management District on a separate item of NSU when they made the presentations. So I know that the water retention works. By the way, HCA Hospital has used the same water techniques. The town is using the same water retention techniques. So these are tried and true techniques. It's not an unforeseen issue that is going to cause more water to flow out to the streets. And we need the affordable housing units in our community. So we have to balance both of these things. I'm a little worried that there's only 4 years left on that other 71, though. So if this commission, if this council, I'm sorry, was to consider approving this project, would you be amenable to increasing the number of years that those 71 units would be eligible for the affordability factor?
Again, we'd like to, Jana Loda once again with Holland and Knight, we could proffer to extend it for an additional 5 years, so it would take the total lure out to the 10 with the 5 original and 5 more.
Okay.
Okay.
Yeah, so I think if we have these conditions, I would support them. Oh, sorry.
Let us all
Yeah,
speak.
go ahead, sorry.
I'm going to take a little different approach.
I understand.
From
We're
you.
allowed, we're allowed.
We know that the P&Z denied this, and I think the Central Broward Water Control District denied it as well.
If I may, we've been working through the matters with the Central Broward Water Control District, and we had 2 variance requests that were before them. One, I believe, has been approved, and we are waiting to go back. We were in the midst of a hearing, and we lost a commissioner, so we are slated to go back later this month.
So you're following a policy, and actually in reading this in a lot of depth for about the 3rd time, you're using a policy that the county has in order to increase your density. The policy provides 6 bonus units for every 1 moderate income unit that you have, correct? And because of this, you don't have to go for a town or a county land use plan amendment, which I understand you would have to do ordinarily.
Yeah, it's part of, over the last several years, Broward County has tried to develop policies to help incentivize or encourage the development of affordable housing. So that is one of the policies, again, that we are leveraging. Again, just to clarify, the land use associated with this property at the county would allow these units as of right anyway, because it allows up to 16 dwelling units per acre. What we have is this inconsistency in the town land use and the town zoning, because the town zoning also allows up to 16 dwelling units per acre. With the redevelopment of these 2 additional buildings, our total density is still going to be below 16 dwelling units per acre. We're going to be at about 13.63 dwelling units per acre, much lower than the county and the town's zoning, and much lower than the community to our west.
Okay, so then just for simplicity, the proposed project consists of 72 residential units, of which only 11 are designated as affordable. The remaining 61 are at market rate. Now, under, as I just mentioned, the Broward County administrative rules, you're relying on a density bonus that effectively allows you a significant number of additional market rate units in exchange for those 11 affordable units.
We actually are using probably the lower of the ones that's available. For example, if we did low-income units consistent with the rest of the property, we'd be allowed up to 9, I believe, bonus units. So we're actually using the lower of the two, and given the number of affordable units that we're providing, we actually could develop up to 77. We're actually only developing the 72. So again, trying to keep it as targeted as we can for what is our ultimate goal, which is to, again, to sustain this property long-term, modernize this property, and to add that clubhouse amenity that we mentioned while continuing the affordability.
Okay, the point is that you're increasing the density, and I strongly support the development of affordable housing units. However, this application falls within the town of Davie's discretion according to the county rules. And I do not believe that providing 11 affordable units creates a proportionate public benefit sufficient to justify the level of additional density being requested. In my view, the balance between the affordable housing provided and the increase in overall density is not equitable. There should have been a lot more units without adding more additional. So from that particular point, I can't support this.
Mayor,
Yes?
if I could speak on this. First comment I want to make is it got brought up about the Walmart.
Oh, yeah, I was going to go back to that.
The reason there's a Walmart there is because we lost in federal court. That's why there's a Walmart there. It was voted 5-0 against it, but you see there's a Walmart there.
If I could just insert in that, because I was going to say something. When they came to us and I said, I want to work on the site plan with you, and they allowed me to do that, that is why we have that vast amount of open space with trees and waterways in the back. And they've come to us for more gas pumps, for more buildings, for a convenience store, and because it was not included in the legal findings, we said, no, you can't do it. So, you know, this has been, things are always a challenge, and people don't understand sometimes the background and the issues involved and why certain decisions are made. So, you know, go ahead.
I was going there, Mayor, that, I mean, at the last council meeting, we were criticized because we're looking to add on to one of our parks. And people said, why are you adding on more to your parks? Well, I thought that's what we were. I thought that's what we were all about, open space, and we're being criticized about, oh, we're going to add on to a park. So there's a lot of things that are very complicated as the town is growing. We can't stop the town from growing. The best we can do is to control it. I have an issue with your project that P&Z said no. I have a big issue with that.
If I may, at P&Z, we had Mr. and Mrs. Patterson were the only people from the public that came to speak. The issues that were raised as the basis for basically the recommendation against were, one, we still had the variance request that we've since eliminated. And two, they were also based on things that clearly, if you look at the record, were not supported. Number one, flooding concerns. We've already indicated, and again, our civil engineer is here to talk about the fact that that is simply not going to be an issue. We had an issue with people that there was going to be noise associated with the air conditioning units. I will tell you, these air conditioning units are, again, as a property, we operate on a centralized system right now. So the two new buildings will have individual units that are located on the roof behind a concrete parapet, in comparison to the Arrowhead condominium located to our west, where they're all roof mounted with no screening whatsoever. Another thing that was raised is that there was going to be some issue with wildlife, that there was an eagle's nest. We have 2 wildlife assessments that were presented as part of this application, one commissioned by the town, one commissioned by the applicant, both of which say that there's no issues, there's no eagle's nest, there's no species that is nesting on our property whatsoever. The other issue was, again, very broad stroke issues that were raised in terms of the traffic on University Drive, which we already indicated is an issue that has nothing to do with our particular project. So I just want you to take, if you look at the minutes, you will see all of those items that were raised, which do not comport with what's in the record in the sense that we have met or exceeded the town requirements. The one comment that was raised by one of the individuals was related to landscaping, and as you saw during the presentation, we've taken great care to extend new trees, relocated trees along that shoreline from the north to the south part of our property. We are relocating trees. We're adding 150 some odd new trees and palms. We've listened to your comments to replace palms with other trees. We've added butterfly and flower gardens. And we still stand here today to listen to, other comments that you may have to, assist us in this property. We've throughout have constantly tried to pivot and adapt since that P&Z meeting to make this project better because of the vital importance that is to the long-term asset. And again, I can only say that this is not development for development's sake. It is incredibly targeted to a small portion of the property. And as far as open space, which is another one, is that we're taking away the golf course or the open space, is we are still maintaining more open space than probably most any other developed property in the town of Davie, with over 65.5% open space that will remain even after development.
I understand it, and I agree with the mayor when she says there's not a lot of, it doesn't seem like a lot there on affordable housing in there, but here on council, we get a lot of headache about that, about, well, what are you doing for affordable housing? What are you doing for affordable housing? And then when you come up with it, it's like, well, it's never enough. This is a tough decision. I think where you're wanting to do this is probably where it should be, in that area. That's not, it's not West Davie. It's not a necessarily rural area, and there is a huge demand from students constantly there at Nova. I'm sure you'll fill up quickly, as everything else does around there, and it is a low crime, a nice area. I do have concerns with the project, though. I'm being real honest about it.
And if I could just make one point with respect to the affordability, a lot of your newer projects that are coming in, to the extent that they're providing affordability, because Broward County requires for anything over 100 units, you have to provide at least 15%. With the LURA, we're providing 30% of our units, twice of what you typically see in new projects, twice of the units for affordable. And the lion's share of our units are not at moderate, they're at low income, which is the 80% of AMI, which are literally your healthcare, your first responders, those people that literally work in and around this area. So I just wanted to make that point as well.
I would feel a lot more comfortable, too, if you had already been through Central Broward and you haven't. I know that can stop the whole project, but I would feel a lot more comfortable if I knew that you had already gone through there.
And certainly this approval would be conditioned upon us getting that approval, as do all of your development orders, getting any other local government approvals that are required for the development, so.
Because I know the hospitals, you said HCA's is done, what Councilmember Alfonso was saying, the drainage that was proposed. I don't know if it'll be, passed by them, but I know the residents here talk about flooding, but knowing construction, what they build there probably should not affect what they're complaining about. But it is And I understand it. I've lived here most of my life about the development, but, you know, as a council, we need to decide, are we going to be able to do a moratorium? I understand that's not even legal. So, you know, we have a lot to decide on this. This is a split the baby kind of decision on this.
Thank you. Did you want to speak?
Thank you, Mayor. Okay, so the 2 units that are going in, there's 11 affordable housing in each one of them? Or just 11 in total?
Of the 72, which is dispersed between the 2 buildings, there's 11 that will be affordable.
Okay, so the ones that are already there, there's no affordable housing in those?
No, there's 71 affordable units of the existing 221 that's already there. So when all is said and done, we will have 83 affordable units out of the total 298.
Okay. I want to say thank you for coming in and supporting your neighborhood. Your voice is heard. And when I vote, the only thing that I have a problem with is P and Z shows the opposite. And I can't figure out why they're saying against this. So I'm going to have to say that I can't support this project.
Mayor?
Yes. Were you
I
finished?
guess-
Yes, Susan?
So I have friends that live on 79th, 81st, all the way around the corner, across the street, and I live in Forest Ridge. So I go down 30th all the time. And I can honestly tell you that probably over the past 30, 35 years that I've been going down Nova Drive, I don't ever remember it that flooded that you are referring to. And I apologize for saying it, but that's my fact. And I do it frequently because I attend all the shopping centers and restaurants, I'm sure just like you and all our neighbors do. I have family members that live nearby. And early on, when this project first started to be discussed, I told them, quite frankly, I'm listening. I'm listening to all the concerns of the community members. I will weigh the evidence at the time of hearing, like I always do. Obviously, things have changed. Everybody with staff and everybody, the applicants that I've met with and anybody I've discussed it with know that I don't have an opinion until it comes before me at the time of hearing. What I heard my community saying, my residents saying, it's about the flooding and the flooding concerns that would happen if these new units did come in. And I've reviewed the engineering studies. I've talked to Central Broward Drainage District commissioners and asked them, you know, had they viewed it and what is their position and what is their policies on these things. And their biggest concern was underground storage, which they've already approved so many of these throughout the town and throughout their districts of the Central Broward. So water is a big issue to me, always has been. Drainage is a huge issue to me. And when I studied what the engineering has in the backup and what they have put forward, I have to trust their expertise and the engineers that have put this through together with our staff. The second point was a lot of the traffic. Believe me, they were talking about the traffic too, every one of them. And the traffic's here, it's here and now, I know it. And the traffic is going to continue to grow, whether we like it or not. Most of the traffic, as was mentioned, comes through north, south, east, west. It comes from all over. I'm your traffic. I come from Forest Ridge to go to university. My friends, my neighbors, we all come through 30th Avenue. It's the traffic. But when you look at the units and the number of traffic study on that, less than 1% was considered the impacts that they were given again. So that checked that box again. Then I looked and read a lot of the public hearings and the public concerns again and again, following it through. I've listened to staff and their presentations, tests with the backup and what we've had there, and I've had a lot of consideration. I hear our community crying out for affordable housing or something that they can afford, saying that the housing units that are going down Davie Road, they can't even afford. Some of the residents say that's far too much. So when you look at the price point, market rates of what these apartments may be, adding a more improved stock, if you will, that kind of checks that box too. Then we get back to what we all, I would like to say, really, really care about. That's our open space. We love our open space. We love our trails. We add additional open space every chance we get. The residents helped us do that by passing a bond issue. And we went out and bought hundreds and hundreds of acres. We have had presentations on how many acres we have throughout the town. So I don't think we're giving up too much of an open space that was already pretty much a parking lot area and a bit of a water body that would be storage anyway. So I've mulled it around, probably months and months. I've listened. My concerns have been deep. We talk about smart growth and in the right place, the right growth, the right development on our corridors. That's where it's always been a desire to have it. Not internally, not, as they said, too much west of University Drive. We talk about compatibility. Compatibility meets our land use compatibility reviews. It's a surrounding compatible to its land use. It is. So I've probably flip-flopped on this project more than you can ever imagine. One minute I say no in my mind, not to public, but in my mind. The other one I say yes, it met that criteria. No, I don't know about this. Well, study it more. So now I'm at the point of decision, and I've done my homework, and I've listened to my residents, not just the residents immediately around, which I care very deeply about. Like I said, I'm probably relatives to some of them, as you all know. And if not, very close friends to a lot of them as well. And I went back and forth on this. I have to look at them quite a bit from now on. But I also have to look at the residents in this town, and that's what I swore when I raised my hand that I would do. And that's represent the town of Davie. Not my family, not just my friends, but the town of Davie. So to that, may surprise some of you and my family. They're gonna probably call me. They're watching. I love you still. I'm probably gonna be supporting this project now because it's met all the criterias in this town. It's met all of our policies, procedures, doesn't have the variances that we all anticipated that it would have. And it still maintains quite a bit of open space. And it meets many of our objectives. So yeah, it's going to be an interesting day tomorrow.
Mayor, if I could make a quick comment?
Yes, sir.
I want to ask Councilmember Alfonso, because you're an executive there at Nova. If we deny this, Nova's still going to continue to grow in the next 2 or 3 years, correct?
Well, Nova Southeastern University has been growing tremendously, obviously, over the last decades. I have an aerial photograph in my office of what it used to look like in 1986. By the way, there weren't a lot of trees on there. It was kind of barren land. I think we're much more tree-friendly now than the town was in 1986. The university has been growing. I think we'll continue to grow. There's going to be more demand for affordable housing, for workforce housing, for people are going to be moving into an area. I mean,
I appreciate that, and that's what I keep thinking, because I want to do what's right, and I feel for everyone when they say, you know, traffic and this and this, but I look at that area, and that's what it was designed for. That's where the density is supposed to be. And it's going to continue to grow there, and we're checking off the boxes, you said, with affordability. It's in the right place. There's a demand for it. Is that area crowded? Yes. Is it gonna get crowded if we say no to this? Yes. And we're not gonna be able to stop that as a council. So am I really doing a service to the town by denying this development? That's what I'm wrestling with in my mind. Am I doing the town a service by telling them no? And I'm not convincing myself that telling them no is what's good for the town as a whole. You know, I understand.
They're transient, we're not. That's the difference.
No, that's.
They're tenants, we're homeowners.
When you sit up here, you're never going to please everybody. You know, you're never going to please everybody. I mean, Abraham Lincoln had said that. You're not going to be able to please everybody. But I will say this, and I'm still not sure how I'm going to vote, but I'm going to tell you this. This is one of the tougher ones and I think that some of my colleagues up here need to really take a look at this, because it's easy to say no, but is this really the right thing for the town to say no? Because when you say no to this, does that mean there's going to be less cars on the road, that all of a sudden from 595 over to Nova, there's not going to be any traffic? No. Let's be realistic about that.
You have to stop. Look at all the new apartments on Davie Road. How many?
Excuse me,
Yeah.
sir.
You know,
Please don't leave. Just,
no, it's frustrating to listen to this because you
I-
have to come up here and speak.
I didn't interrupt you, ma'am. I didn't interrupt
But
you.
you don't understand
That's
how
all right,
frustrating
please.
this is for us.
I understand your frustration. That's what I'm trying to say.
calm down.
I'm a third-generation Floridian, okay? My grandparents, the Miami News did an article years ago about the oldest living resident in the city of Miami. It was my aunt, and she gave them pictures of the school in the city of Miami, where it was a high school, a middle school, and an elementary school, all in one building in the city of Miami. Have you been down to the city of Miami lately? That's in my lifetime.
Marlon.
I'm a third-gen.
Marlon.
No, let me finish.
But calm down.
No, don't interrupt me. Let me finish.
Calm down.
Let me finish. What's happened is there's been a change in South Florida that couldn't be stopped. That's the thing we're trying to do is control this. You want to have the best police department that we can have? We have it, but we pay for it. You want a number one SO rated fire department? We have it, but you pay for that. The planners in Davie plan to have, when the Foreman family gave that land in there for Nova, they planned that this would be a big university, and everyone said, eventually, don't nod your head, because what I'm saying is fact. It's going to be a big university town, and we said, okay, it'll be there, but we're going to protect the stuff out west. And that's what's happened. You live in an area where it's the most dense part of the town, and now you're coming to me and asking me to stop the density?
Well, then you should have told me that when I bought the house.
Come on, ma'am.
Yeah, come, that's it. This is not doing any service.
I agree, but
I don't-
Mayor, I'm going to say this, and I'm saying it up here too. When you make this vote, is it the best for the town?
One more thing, Mayor.
But can we move on?
Yeah.
What?
One more thing. The other thing I always, and I've said this all along, I've said it many times, that we want to be able to control our density before somebody else does. And by this, we've done a lot to control the densities that we want, that the future land use map intended of where the developments were supposed to be.
And I was
So-
a part of that future land use.
And we
Neither
were
you.
all voted, we all, back in the day before us, and, you know, if you've been a resident of the town for any length of time and you voted, then you voted for the density or the future land use map since 1989. That was voted on then. And so now, yes, that's what the intensity was supposed to be. So my position is we need to control our destiny before someone else does, meaning if we don't see development here as a sustainable project that meets all the criterias, that satisfies all the concerns that we've had, as well as a lot of the community members that I've listened to, then, you know, what's the destiny gonna be later? More, higher, 5, 10, 15 stories? It could be worse, it could be a lot worse, and I don't wanna deal with that later.
And if we say no tonight, they're gonna be back,
Oh, yeah.
and it'll probably be something bigger. I mean, I'm just trying to
I agree.
to put all this out so I can really sort this in my mind, because I understand that the complaints, you have no idea how much time I spend on University Drive every day, and it frustrates me. This is not the same town it was back when I was a child. It's not, and it's not gonna be, and it's changed. And I think in a lot of ways, we have to accept that and do the best that we can. But for me to sit up here and not vote for what is the best for the town, I have made that statement many times. This town is a lot bigger than I am, and I try to do what's best for everyone in this town, not one or two people, what's best for this town. And I'm still not sure how I'm gonna vote, but I think it's, and I'm a little, never mind, but just, we gotta vote what's best for the town on this, period. Thank you, Mayor.
Okay. At this particular point, I'm going to ask if there is a motion to deny.
Can I ask a question?
Hearing none, what?
If this is denied, how long can it be before they can come back?
There is no restriction like there is for variances. A site plan can come back at any time.
Really?
Yes, sir.
May I make a
I
statement?
thought there was a year.
Well,
It's only for variances.
I
and-
didn't get a
I'm sorry.
motion that I requested, so I will ask if anyone else wants to make a motion.
Well, I want to make a comment, first of all, and I'm listening to Marlon, and I understand his concerns. If this doesn't get approved, we may not be dealing with the same owner in the future. We may be dealing with a different owner. And the 82 units of affordable housing that would be here for the next 9 years will not be here. They'll only be here maybe for 4 more years. If we approve it, then we secure those units for the next 9 and then 11 for another number of years. We are ensuring that there will be no development on that southern pond, so that is a restriction on there. I'm asking the administration, the flooding on 30th, it's not because of this, if there is flooding on 30th. I've driven by there, I know, it does get water there. It's not because of these apartments.
Right into that canal.
Right. So perhaps that's a separate
Can we
issue.
move on?
One question, if I may ask, Marlon. You mentioned that you had some concern about the water management district, and you're not sure yet where you are with this. So, can we ask that we table the item until the water management district votes?
I would prefer
And
that.
You would prefer that? Is that a motion that I can make? That I
Or
can?
make it contingent upon?
Well,
No.
because I would like to know, and I want assurances, not just from the engineer saying, well, I'd like for Central Broward to say, this will work, this will not flood. I would like that to be a stamp of approval before I say yes, to be honest with you. That would make me a little more comfortable, to be honest with you.
So with that, we're happy to ask if this council agrees to table the item until after we've gained the approval from Central Broward Water Control District, sorry.
Honestly, I would appreciate that.
Can we have a date certain? Who's got a calendar in front of them?
Mayor, what month are you looking at? November, October, November?
October, I think.
Well, when are you going back to the Water Management District?
Just a moment, please, forgive me.
They meet, I think, on the 1st. Central Broward meets on the 1st.
They have to be on
No,
the
the
agenda.
2nd and the 4th, Wednesday. 2nd and 4th Wednesday.
And Mayor, just to note that we're talking about two items then, that it would be the two items.
I'd like to know, yeah.
So our preference is if you could respectfully do a motion to approve conditioned upon Central Broward. If we don't get their approval, the project will not move forward. Again, we've been working with them. We're confident we're going to get that approval. It's consistent with other approvals that have been granted where they're subject to the approvals of whatever other bodies that are required to review. However, if it's clear that we're not going to gain approval without Central Broward, that's something clearly we'll have to do, but.
I would prefer that myself.
I think what they're
Give me
saying
a
is that they
date.
would, my understanding is that they're asking that we make a motion to approve contingent upon the Water Management District approval.
I understand that, but the Central Broward also could say
They also want a table.
that they want certain things that maybe haven't been presented yet.
Yeah.
And so,
One of the main things that we've been working through with Central Broward is, if you recall from my drainage slide, is we're relocating the R tanks away from the edge of the water. That's one of the changes that we've been working through with them. That's why we feel that at the end of the day, that we will ultimately gain their approval. Where we're at kind of right now is I hate to say it's like a chicken and the egg kind of scenario. So we'd love to be able to be complete with this body. We think it's a good project. It's good for the town of Davie. It's a very strategic, limited project to maintain affordability for the town, in some instances for 30 years and certainly for at least 10. We have done a tremendous amount of work to adapt and revise, to listen to comments from people that are sitting up there on the dais, as well as from the community, to try to check all the boxes. And in fact, we do meet and exceed all of the town code requirements for site plan approval. So if the concern is that we get Central Broward's approval, we'd love to be able to move forward contingent upon getting their approval, and if we don't, then the project is done at that point. Yes, and I was just clarified that if you do, we'll reach out to Central Broward. You know, they have their own consulting engineers that review every single one of their projects against the standards of that district, and has basically indicated their support for the project as well.
Marlon, would you like to make a motion to table? Does that make you comfortable?
yeah, I'd like to make a motion to table.
Okay, we have to have a date certain.
Second.
Second meeting in October,
Second meeting in October is October 21st.
October 21st. Is there a second?
Second.
All those in favor say aye.
Aye.
Aye. Any opposed? That's unanimous. Thank you.
Thank you for your time tonight. I appreciate it.
There were two items which you,
Yes, I know. I'm expected by 9 o'clock over at the rodeo arena to hand out awards to the kids that are in the Buckle Rodeo, the Buckle Summer Series Buckle. So I'm going to turn the rest of the meeting over to the Vice Mayor. Would you start with the 17? And you'll excuse me.
Represent us, Mayor.
Okay, we're going to move on to the,
The 16, I mean 17.
We just want to clarify, the motion was made only for 14, and they have two items, 14 and 15. So we didn't consider 15, so we would have to make the same motion for number 15.
So we need to table, have a motion to table 15
15.
to second meeting in October.
Second.
Thank you. All those in favor say aye.
Aye.
Any opposed? That's unanimous. Thank you.
all right, moving on to the ordinance, second and final reading, number 17, code amendment. Mr. Sherwood, could you read the ordinance by title?
An ordinance of the Town of Davie, Florida, amending Chapter 2 Administration, Article 5 Boards and Committees, revising Section 2-72 Board and Committee Membership and Governance, creating subsection K, Annual Statement of Financial Interest, Form 1, amending Division 4, Planning and Zoning Board by revising Section 2-138 Duties, providing for codification, providing for conflicts, and providing for severability, and providing for an effective date.
Are there any members of the public that wish to speak? Okay, seeing none, we'll close the public hearing. Is there any of the town council with any discussions on this? Can I have a motion to approve? And a
Motion to approve code amendment number 17.
And a second?
Second.
Thank you. Ask the town, okay, town clerk, roll call, please.
Councilmember Alfonso?
Yes.
Councilmember Starkey?
Yes.
Councilmember Lewis?
Yes.
Vice Mayor Whitman?
Yes.
Motion passes.
Okay, number 18, the budget amendment. Mr. Sherwood, could you read the ordinance by title, please?
An ordinance of the Town of Davie, Florida, authorizing the third amendment to the fiscal year 2026 budget, providing for conflict, providing for severability, and providing for an effective date.
Okay, that is second and final reading on the ordinance will be held on August 19, 2026. Is there any members of the public that wish to speak? And if they would like to speak, then you need to fill out a speaker's form. Seeing none, we'll close the public hearing. Is there any discussion from town council? How about a motion to approve and a second, please?
Motion to approve. Second.
Budget amendment number 18.
Clerk, roll call, please.
Vice Mayor Whitman?
Yes.
Councilmember Starkey?
Yes.
Councilmember Alfonso?
Yes.
Councilmember Lewis?
Yes.
Motion passes.
Okay, moving on to number 19, the variance. Mr. Sherwin, could you read the resolution by title?
I believe that was already
The 19.
approved, Vice Mayor, for
Yes.
Vitale. Yeah.
That was approved earlier in the meeting.
Okay, thank you. Okay, this closes the public hearing portion of the meeting. That's already been done. Any appointments, board or committee appointments? Nope, okay.
All good.
Okay. We have the schedule of the next meeting. Okay. We have the mayor and the council, okay, mayor's gone, sorry. Council member comments, I'll start off. Okay, this last Saturday at the Take a Kid Fishing event, even though it was a very warm day, I think every family walked away with something, whether it was a raffle prize, a fishing trophy, or just a lot of fun for the day. It all worked out. Thank you to all who came out and participated. Thank you to the Davie Parks and Recreation Cultural Arts Department, Davie PD, Davie Fire Rescue, Florida's Fish and Wildlife, 4-H Club, Broward County Airboat Club, and Greater Fort Lauderdale Women's Club of West Broward. On Monday, the mayor and council distributed 148 book bags with school supplies at the Rick and Rita Case Boys and Girls Club. Our second stop was at the Davie POW, where we gave out 100 book bags with school supplies. On Tuesday, at Florence DeGeorge, there were 135 book bags given away with school supplies. I think the parents and students were very happy to receive by the smiles on all their faces. Thank you to the Rick and Rita Case Boys and Girls Club, Florence DeGeorge Club, the Davie POW, and Senator Barbara Sharif office team for contributing school supplies. A huge shout out of appreciation and thanks goes to Mr. Reddy and his foundation. Also, thank you to all who participated in dropping school supplies off at the town sites to make this event successful to all these students. Also on Monday night was National Night Out. There were 300 plus people that came out to this event. Parking was a challenge, but it all worked out. Even the weather cooperated. A special thank you goes out to the women and men of the Davie PD, Davie Parks Recreation Cultural Arts Department, the CRA, Town Administration, and a personal thank you to Cheryl Leverett. I would like to also recognize and thank Mission Barbecue, Walmart, That's a Wrap, Playa Bowls, Davie's Best Pizza, Home Depot, Jeremiah Italian Ice, Wawa, Superior Towing, AT&T, and the DJ Jim Moore. This Friday, August 7th, from 5 to 9 p.m., the Davie Fire Rescue is hosting its second annual team night at the Davie Police Athletic League, PAL, located at 4300 Southwest 57th Terrace. For more information, contact the Davie Community Provider at 954-995-4997. On an annual basis, the Town of Davie coordinates a series of community forums to engage in dialogue with residents and businesses on short and long-term planning. These forums are specifically designed to share the town's plan for fiscal year 2027, including ongoing operations, the town's physical condition, capital projects, future initiatives, programs, and other towns' updates. Here is the schedule already having our first forum on Monday, August 3rd, here at the Pine Island Multipurpose Center. All forums start promptly at 6:30 p.m. Our next forum will be August 6th, which is on a Thursday at the Police Athletic League, 4300 Southwest 57th Terrace. Our next one will be August 12th on a Wednesday at Shenandoah Community Center, 14452 Shenandoah Parkway. August 13th, which is on a Thursday, Old Davie School Museum and Event Venue in the Heritage Hall, 6650 Griffin Road. On August 25th, on a Tuesday, Pine Island Multipurpose Center in the Palm Room, 3801 South Pine Island Road. And the last one will be on August 27th on Thursday at Ivanhoe Community Center, 6101 Volunteer Road. Coming up, the Veterans Breakfast will be held on August 11th for this month due to the Multipurpose Center being a voting site for the August 18th elections. August 14th, which is on a Friday, celebrate 90 years of community at the at the Women's Club from 5:30 to 8:30 p.m. at 6551 Orange Drive. August 15th, on Saturday, Coffee with the Cop at New River Groves at 9:30 a.m. at 5660 Griffin Road. Finally, wishing all the August babies a happy birthday. District 2, would you like to say something?
You know, you're so thorough covering all the events. It's like you don't leave nothing for anybody else. But that's, but that's okay, though. I appreciate all the effort that you put into it. I will say that I'm looking forward to working with the Parks Department because I know that At the university, we have a place called the Miniachi Theater. And my program director over there, who works with the Broward Center of Performing Arts, has put together a phenomenal set of events that are coming up, including a Tito Puente tribute by his son. That, yeah, I know, it's pretty good. But there's a lot of great shows that are coming up, and we're working on a deal to get a discount to Davie residents who want to go over there. So try and put that together with the Parks Department. So I encourage you to come out. It's a phenomenal facility. It's only 450 seats, and there's not a bad seat in the house. You're really, I mean, you can get the perspiration from the actors kind of swung on you.
Thank you. Susan, would you like to speak?
Thank you, Vice Mayor. It was really a fun week, I have to tell you. I mean, you know, yeah, you just saw a bunch of us trying to struggle with a very difficult decision. But I tell you, the highlights of our week were giving those backpacks to the children and seeing their faces light up because they could pick their favorite backpack, or, you know, attending the events that we've all attended in the past week and a half. And it was back to school events everywhere we went, and it was a lot of fun. I mean, we get a chance not only to engage with the kids, but their parents, or engage with our staff who was also out there, and the police department at Betty Booth. It was really kind of nice to be able to have the fun stuff as well, because, you know, so many times we're studying and we're reading and we're looking at budgets and we're looking at site plans and everything else, and it just gets overwhelming. So it was a good, refreshing break that we had to do that. And I just want to remind parents, as they start their school year with the children, pack your patience. Please do not park in places where you're not supposed to. We have that not just in District 4, but we have it in every single district. There's District 1, 2, 3, 4. All of us have had issues with our schools and the school zones about parents who maybe thought they could sneak a little cheat and go one way or another. And, you know, our police departments have been very good with trying to get everybody out there and try to get them in the right direction, and parking in the appropriate lanes or traffic configurations. And reminder that the school zones, majority of them are now equipped with cameras for speeders in school zones. If you speed in a school zone, it's the safety of our children that come first and foremost. In addition, the school buses are all have camera systems. So if you think you can sneak around a stop sign at a school bus, you're going to get a ticket from them, a citation as they have. But I do believe that once the first couple of weeks people get the message and they begin to understand how they're supposed to drop off their children appropriately. I've been dealing with that for many, 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 many years in this town. As a mom, as a community member, it's very, very important to be careful in the next couple of weeks. And then they'll forget, by the way, right about Thanksgiving time, and then again they'll forget around Christmas time. So we're always having to be aware and remind our families to be safe. And thank you, Michelle, for going through all the list. We always appreciate it because she writes it all down for us and goes first. I appreciate it. Thank you.
Thank you, Susan. Marlon?
Thank you, Vice Mayor. Last night I was at that National Night Out at Betty Booth Park, and I was looking around, and I gotta say, I was Saturday there to take a kid fishing, and then last night, when our town does something, we do it good. I mean, both of those events were so well organized. Kudos to the whole Jeff and Chad, your whole department. We do good work here in the town of Davie. And if you noticed, you look at Saturday, you look at last night, you look at the stuff, everything tends to be around family. This is a very family-oriented town, and I appreciate that. I love this about this town, and there's not a better place in South Florida as far as I'm concerned. I mean, this town is special, And I love this town, and I speak for my colleagues when I say that. This is a wonderful town. And last night, looking around there, I was thinking, man, this is really just so well organized, and the vendors who had the food there. I mean, my hat goes out to everybody. It's just nice to see community working together. It's a fantastic night. And with that, Vice Mayor, good night.
Thank you, Marlon. Mr. Lemag?
I'm good, thank you.
Mr. Sherwin?
I have nothing.
Okay, if there's no objection, thank you all for coming, and we're adjourned.